Very cool. You turned it down. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection, coming to you live from the beautiful Ligony Club. This is Thursday, free flowing Thursdays, and we are your hosts, Minette and Pastor Percival.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Great morning. It's a sunny morning. The sun is coming up.
And we also say a very lively good morning to those back at studio, the Best 100 FM crew. Back in the studio, good morning, Lloydie. We miss you here. And of course, good morning to our producer who gets us well set up in the gardens of the Ligony Club. We're very pleased to be with you today. Which one?
The hanging gardens of Persia.
Babylon?
Babylon or Persia.
When we passed through Turkey, actually, you could see the tracks for that kind of development because inside the airport itself, which had many, many levels, they very well planted with trees that you would expect to see outside, palm trees and so on.
Wow.
I do hope they were not artificial. I didn't go close enough.
But
when I saw them, I said to Lowell, you see, look at that. The hanging gardens.
Yes, so they try to reproduce that.
Yeah. But you can well understand in those cultures where the temperature, the climate can be so extreme outside of a building that you would want to bring the outdoors indoors. Of course, here in Jamaica, there's no need for that. The outdoors and the indoors appear to merge where we are under this giant mango tree, and the mangoes have begun to fall.
And they're falling again.
Mango season. It's raining
falling
mangoes.
It is raining mangoes. And some crops have started to come in. East Indian.
We are seeing mangoes. So those of you who love to...
Number 9. That's for Earl. That's for Earl.
Yes, the rate at which Earl been traveling the Caribbean, he's not missing mangoes right now.
He's not missing mangoes.
But it's just really a beautiful spot where we are located. The dining area is on the terrace, so it's open to the gardens, and we're looking right in. It is really a beautiful morning. I'm echoing Pastor Percival's statement that it's a beautiful day and it's good to be alive on such a beautiful day. So good morning to all of you, those who are online and those who are on air. This is radio, and we know that our greatest impact is likely to be amongst those here in Jamaica, traveling the roads. You're in the taxi, you're in the motor car of your own, heading to and fro, and you have your radios. Your ear is tuned to your favorite radio station. And so we thank you that we have made the list. I want to say a special good morning to a very special lady. My mom was listening to us in the morning, and so we had a nice chat last night as we continued the discussion about taking your rest.
Okay.
In the Lord.
But she's taking her rest now. She's
an early riser.
Okay, she's an early riser, but she's taking her rest. She's in her, people would call it your rest years.
Oh, that's what they call it?
I don't know. When you're retired and you don't have children and in emptiness and all of them things.
I should still have children, please.
Only your grandchildren come around. But you are basically,
great
you
grand.
don't have to get up and ensure that all of these things happen.
Percy.
So indeed is a rest.
Yeah. That I know he's slipping quite down the slope.
Go down
in the break, I'll tell him what I heard.
What you heard?
The scripture says God spoke once, but you heard it twice.
Oh, so I'm speaking once and hearing
I'm hearing two.
Yeah, you're so different things.
I'm hearing it twice. But good morning, Mommy Avis. Thank you for spending some of your morning hours listening to Minette and Percy.
So I'm waiting to meet your mom,
You'll have to go to her. As you said, she's in her rest years.
Yes, she's in her rest years.
We'll do a visit to the country.
As you reflect on the whole thing of rest. That's possible. Because remember, we have been saying for some time we're going on the road.
Yes.
We're taking a road.
We're taking it to the road.
Yeah, that will meet up a lot of the people who you meet, or we say in Jamaica, you buck up on and then say, your voice is distinctive, mine is distinctive. And some people would come up and say, I've heard your voice somewhere. And I says, guilty as charged. And I said, where have you heard the voice? It's the pastor up on the radio who the lady always quibbing and teasing.
That's what they
You
say.
know what I'm
I
saying?
think you made that one up, Francis. I give you points for imagination. Not a soul said that.
A point for imagination.
I wouldn't even
No.
say that my voice is distinctive. I would say it's recognizable. My voice is not distinctive. Is
Okay.
it, you think?
Yeah, yeah. It's your voice. It makes you
Yeah.
distinct.
Yeah, but I'm distinct. But my voice,
Distinctive.
for example, I sound just like my sister. At least there are like
Which one
three
of
of
your
us.
sisters
Or which ones haven't you met?
I've met?
We speak alike. We sound alike.
Because
Like
I've met
same
two of your
tonality.
sisters.
Yeah.
One, two. One that I met, and I never knew you
I
were a
make it sound
sister.
like me have many, many sisters.
They make you know what.
Which I do in the family of Christ. There are
No,
many of
no,
us.
no, no. But just, I'm just thinking, I met a sister of
You met
yours.
Maureen.
No, I met your sister.
You met Maureen.
Yeah. I
And you
met,
know Claudia.
and
Yeah.
Claudia. Remember
Right,
Claudia? Claudia
yeah.
said, "Are you?" And Claudia said, "Okay, all right."
We won't say how you met
I
Claudia.
met Claudia.
But you knew of
Claudia
Claudia even
Maureen.
before you knew she was my sister.
Right. So Claudia
Yeah.
Maureen, and the one who is over.
You met Desmond?
Yes,
Or by
Desmond. Yeah,
by
remember?
video?
I met
She
Desmond.
was here in Jamaica?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
We shall test it and see. In the spirit. I think you met her in the
No, but
spirit.
that's her. And her son
I
was
think
with
you met
her.
her.
And the lady, she has a son, and did she had come?
Oh,
It does mean, yeah.
she does have a son, but
Yeah, man.
she
But
has two sons. Anyway, to my mom, who is, I do hope you you have joined us again. Thank you for listening. You know what my mom reminded me of? I know she was really listening because um, she had still been meditating on this conversation we had concerning taking your rest in the Lord and resting from your toils, as the criminality, the corruption, the many things that when you repent of them, you take a break, put yourself in the bosom of your Savior, and restore, be restored.
and allow him
So
to
she
be
had
your
still been thinking about it, and she said to me, "But you know, I remember you from you were a child. I've been a Bible scholar for a long time."
But that's
That's
what she
what she
said about.
remembered.
You
Yes.
gotta read the Bible and the
Yes.
memory verse and all
Yeah.
of them things.
No, not. I've never been one. Do you know now that artificial intelligence is interfering with how people see education and how different teaching methodologies are applied? I have always been of the view that how we teach children should not include memorization, teaching by rote, force feeding them gobs and gobs of information, and then try to pull it out of them through different testing, applying tests, whether it is what you call it again, the multiple choice question or the. No, I've always felt
call
that.
and so on.
Yes, yeah, I've
Goes
always
off the
felt
call.
that the most important thing for
application of the knowledge.
a thinking person is to know how to find information and how to use it.
I'm thinking
That's
more in
it.
terms of application.
Well, how to use it.
Yeah, so we have the information
how to find
manage
it and how to use
how
it.
to manipulate it
Yeah.
when you have it. And
Always.
which is what people saying our system has not really done for us. It's more rote learning and
Yes.
recall
Yeah.
and so.
And
All right,
so
so
you
you
have
have
a
all
lot
these
of
situations.
Well-educated persons who can't apply the knowledge they've acquired to real-life situations.
This is the challenge now. To be thinking outside of the box and to be moving forward in terms of what it is that you need to do in the situation. Wow. What happened, boss? I see him holding up his hands like he said,
And he says, mind your own business.
him going, oh, help,
Anyway.
help me.
This is a busy morning. We're going to have two segments where we'll have two different kind of guests. First, because even as I drew you into a consideration of what artificial intelligence, the significance of it in this age, digital literacy is critical for our survival. Critical that you understand the technology of the day. JPS has, remember when we first went to JPS to invite their participation in our program, it was on the matter of digital literacy.
Yeah, that people, yes, I
Yes,
remember that.
because we saw where things were going. At the time, we didn't even know that they had the
Up
prepaid
online.
the prepaid product in their future, and the mobile app which they've since rolled out. Or maybe they had a no, they were just about to roll out their mobile app. But we feel at the Morning Connection, we are very concerned that citizens are not sufficiently included in the planning and the execution of these strategies, which involve understanding the technology, being comfortable with the technology, and as Percy and I are saying, being able to use it to enhance the enjoyment of some basic amenities. Your utilities, water, electricity, what's the other one that we should water,
Telephone,
electricity,
telephone,
telephone
internet,
or internet communications, all those utilities are heavily dependent on a increasingly digital environment for you to be able to even get your bills, pay your bills. You know, you may have heard it, but a night or two ago, there was a blind man saying he pays his bills online. He does his banking online. A blind man. And he's seeking to teach more members of the disabled community, the blind community,
that
how
was on the
to,
news.
yeah, yes. And he was stating it very confidently and proudly. There are some of us fully sighted, and if we say something to them about online, they react as if you're trying to scam them. And there's a blind man paying his bills, doing his banking online,
Because you
and
can do that to the
desiring,
keyboard, yeah.
yeah, and desiring more
People to be used.
inclusiveness for persons in his community. So digital literacy is a big, big thing. We cannot emphasize it enough. And we are so happy that the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited, our friends there in particular, Winsome Callum, we have to give her some kudos for that. Their director of communications, yeah,
Yes.
saw the value in forging a relationship with us. And here we are. This morning, the very vivacious Miss Ruthlyn Johnson is going to join us. Did you notice that she's
Not
the one who's coming?
Brooklyn. I remember
Ruthlyn,
Brooklyn. She's out of
she's
St.
the
Catherine.
customer service area manager. And when I call her name, I just remember her in that red, vibrant red. I love the color red. So anybody who wears red,
And then she was very
goes with
vibrant
me,
too.
and she's vivacious. So we're really looking forward to seeing her, and she's going to be talking about the different initiatives and applications that can be done online using your JPS mobile app. How you can use it to enhance your use of the service and the control that it can give you. I am really looking forward to diving into that with her because energy, your energy bill is a substantial part
Tell me
of your
about it.
budget. And in all the many ways you consume, you use energy, it's good to have a lot more control. And then the guests that really, 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 I'm really looking forward to Dr. Barbara Carby, and I think it's also Dr. Patricia Green.
Both of them are
They're
doctors.
both PhD in their disciplines.
So she's a
They
doctor.
are our guests at 9 o'clock this morning. Please, if you're listening, that is the schedule. Our JPS segment will be at 8:30, and right after that, we will have Doctors Carby and Green sitting with us. They are representatives of a very interestingly named, maybe I would say eponymously named. I always wanted to use that word on air.
Who are for?
Eponymous.
What does that mean, please?
The name says what it is. So here we go. Yeah, that's what it means. An eponymous name is a name that is entirely descriptive, accurately descriptive of the thing.
Oh, so that's
So it's named after what it is. So if you did Percy Palmer Limited, what would that be? Percy Palmer Limited. You're Percy Palmer.
Interesting.
So you name it after yourself.
Funny
The
enough.
name of their organization is Citizens' Rights to the City.
So they believe the citizens have a right to the city.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Citizens' Rights to the City. I love the name. The first time I saw it, I thought, it is completely lacking in imagination and completely filled with imagination.
Yeah, because
They say, what are we about? Citizens' rights to the city. And what do we fight for?
it's
Citizens'
the right
rights
to
to the
the city,
city.
to be
I
able to
love it.
live and
They're,
to do. And they
and the
fighting.
producer said, where do you fight? In the city. so,
So
so
you
I
probably
love
there's
it.
one similar. It probably want to go be the second city as a
Citizens'
brand right
rights
to
to the
the
second
city.
city.
Yes, it could
Yeah.
be that. That's
I love it.
interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the. I haven't asked anything about the history of the name. I will let them tell it. You can hear it, so you know while you're sitting there spending 6 weeks in meditation on how to name your organization. You don't need to call
Takes
it
a
what it is.
takes a long 6 weeks.
Citizens' rights to mango. Hey, some people don't even. Some people can't start until they've given a name to their organization, and you see them with a placeholder, and no marketing material can be prepared. Nothing can be done because the name. Let's talk about it, Percy. You say what's in
What's
a
in a
name?
name?
What's in a
I'm
name?
only thing in a
Plenty.
name. Plenty is in a name.
Yeah, when you talk about it in a spiritual sense.
What the name speaks it all.
Yeah.
Look at Jabez.
There you go.
Jabez.
Although with some of these things you wonder what comes first, the meaning of the name or the name. Because sometimes the man's life exemplifies the name.
That was given to him.
Yes. And
And sometimes
thereafter,
I have to break it because even Jabez, remember he says, "Oh Lord, I know my mother did have me. I was
yes, his mother never named him so well.
in pain, but I am breaking that over my life. Can you please enlarge my borders?" And it
So
says the
did
Lord
he
heard him. Second Chronicles.
so you and I did this, a year ago we were talking about what comes first,
The
the
name.
meaning or the name, because after the name becomes the meaning. For example, after Minute and Percival, someone will say, have based on who we are and how we,
You mean the people who always laughing on the morning connection?
then somebody else, another couple will, on their program will get called, oh, that's the Minute and Percy of today. That's
No.
only, that can only happen after Minute and Percy.
Yeah,
You
because
see what I'm
that's not the
saying?
trend. Yeah,
Because you're right. So,
that's it.
citizens' rights to the city are coming to sit with us. I love what they are doing. I'm not going to tell you about what they're doing just yet. We'll keep talking about it as the morning progresses. Suffice it to say, they're no ordinary folks. They are an alliance of 24 citizens associations. Now, of course, we have plenty communities in the city, way more than 24.
But they have come
But
together, and it's
24 of them have found common voice, are standing together, and there are a number of things that they've been doing. They came to my notice because they've been writing, supporting various things, and
and they
speaking out
and
and
then been doing
participating.
litigation.
Yeah, and they're, well, not the organization itself, but members of
Of
the
the organization.
organization. So they're doing exactly what I believe God desires for his children to do, come together around wholesome principles and support each other in the fight for justice. And they're going to be with us at 9 a.m. They're going to just spend the rest of the morning with us. Last week we had, or two of Jamaica's finest. You remember the police were here with us? How could you
Oh yes,
forget?
yes, 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 yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
And they stayed with us right up to at the
Great.
wire, one would say. And that was an amazing experience. That is a feature which I did say, give us your feedback. I don't think anybody remembered to talk to us about it in the week.
We're concerned about the budget debate and all of those things. It encompass, consume them.
Yeah,
Was
but
what
we
they were
are
doing.
we are looking to continue that, make that segment a continuing feature. So we're really looking forward to that.
But as you
All
talk
right,
about
Percy.
citizens,
Rights to the city.
the eyes of the Lord watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. You think they're making a cry? They're crying out to him and say, Father,
Yeah.
this is what they're doing to our city.
Because you and I know that God has a, a specific concern for the land. The land is one realm, one of the created realms or dimensions.
And it
It
is a
has its
major
own,
significant thing.
yeah, and it has its own personality and purpose, and there's a mandate concerning it, and how we as the inhabitants treat it is very important.
Because if you treat it bad, it will vomit you out. That's what comes to mind.
Yep, and if you honor it, it will reward
Applaud
you
you.
with
Yeah.
bountiful crops and so on. So I am, you have your ministry is what it is. You are relating directly to, you're saving souls, you're drawing people into the kingdom. Their ministry is caring for the environment. I don't think when they come, let us call them missionaries
Missionaries about the city. No,
and
no,
and
our
see how they
evangelists.
are evangelists
Missionaries
and
and
see how they
evangelists
feel
in terms.
about it. Yeah.
No, but it is serious because they rightly are saying too much block and steel. It's too much. They're just saying let us do this thing right and good, and let us adhere to the laws that are in existence. Let's not just ride
Roughshod.
roughshod over it, but
Yeah.
let's hold it in a good tension. That I think in their thing they speak about the natural environment and what the built
Yeah.
environment and waiting to see how it is. But
So let's give you some specifics then, since Percival is drawing us in that direction. There are some things which they advocate. Key among them, if you look, is holding state agencies accountable for the regulation of the built environment and the natural environment. So because they are focused on the city, they are not the ones behind the injunction to stop the mining in the cockpit country,
no,
but they would have been involved in the resistance to a certain level of development in Long Mountain
right
because the natural environment was being
at risk, serious risk.
invaded in an extreme way. And I believe a lot of gains were made in that process. Though, of course, the houses were eventually
Built.
constructed. So they are calling on state agencies. This is the Kingston and St. Andrew Metropolitan Corporation, NEPA, NAA, for example, to respond in a timely and relevant manner to citizens' concerns. They are calling on NEPA and again the KCMC to enforce relevant legislation. And we'll talk about that. Though you've seen a lot more litigation in
Happening.
that space. Their members of their association are behind it. They're participating in the review and amendment of the Provisional Development Order for the Kingston Metropolitan Area.
Which is a major thing.
This is the 2017 Provisional Development Order. So it hasn't been finalized yet, and sometimes you wonder, how long can it be provisional? And while it's provisional, a lot of
Developments
things
that
are done,
Yes.
which later on you may find that the final order don't even embrace that kind of
So the
development.
people taking advantage of the fact that there's not structures and boundaries.
Yes, it's not
That's
settled out
unfortunate
yet.
though.
And they're seeking now. This is in the area of enforcement. They are calling on the KCMC to ensure that no construction gets started until all approvals are in. No building approvals to be
Granted.
yes, until all the requirements are in place. And this is because provisional approvals are granted
And people do
and
anything.
people put money in the ground and then
And do
then
what
it's a
they need to
problem,
do.
right?
So
and so on. I mean, they have a list of things. We don't want to take away their thunder. Whoa, these are the 24 communities. Let's call out the names of some of the communities. So if your community if you hear the name of your community called, stick around for 9 a.m. to hear how some of your issues are already being addressed by this advocacy group. We'll do the list after the break because we're right up on the 7 a.m. break.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935. Good morning, welcome back to the morning connection. That sounds so very cute. In terms of what was said. Yes, there. But you asked me, what scripture do you come back with?
Did I ask you that, Pastor Percival?
And I ponder, what am I saying this morning? I was looking on the news and I saw where the Constitutional Reform Committee has been
Constituted?
has been appointed by the Prime Minister. And,
They
and the
got their mandate.
Constitution is our covenant, which is between the people,
Citizen and citizen,
yeah,
and citizens and state.
citizens and state. And that's important. Now, Proverbs 29 and verse 18 says something, and I want to just look at it a bit. It says, where there's no vision, people perish. But when you look at that verse, the 18, and go through the different versions, it says, one of them, this is from the Amplified. Where there's no vision, the people cast off restraint.
And die.
That's one. Where there's no vision or revelation of God and His Word, the people are unrestrained.
All right, so vision has been translated to mean no revelation of God and His Word.
No redemptive. Yes.
And the perish has been translated to mean they cast off the restraint.
Yes, and
So
it
everybody
ultimately leads to destruction.
Destruction.
And the question that comes to mind is will there be a vision for a new constitution that is based upon the word of God and how He has commanded us that we are to live our lives? Or is it, as you say a lot of times, the imaginations of man?
I love that description.
The imaginations
Yeah,
of
man, we pull it out of our own
imagination. One says without revelation, people run wild. But one who follows divine instruction will be
That's
happy.
what again? Psalm 30.
No, Proverbs 29,
29,
verse 8.
29, verse 8.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I asked you, I'm making a note of it, because during the break, before we took the break, we were looking at the communities which are represented by this citizen advocate group. Now, you know that from the first day we met, Percy and I have been saying to you, empower yourself and advocate for your own rights. Fight for what is yours. Do it together, because we also advocate unity, because there's great strength in unity. And I was going
Psalm
to read
speaks
out
to
a
that.
list of the communities. If you hear the name of your community, stay tuned because there is an advocacy group that is fighting for the protection and preservation of citizens' rights in those communities. Whitcomb, Hope View, New Haven in the Kingston area.
New Haven. You know,
New
New Haven
Haven.
is down Duane Park, the flooding. You know that, right?
Okay, well, see, you right
But
away,
yeah,
you
yes,
mentioned something that they would be addressing. St. Andrew Park in Kingston.
that's right in the Half Tree area.
Stony Hill Community Group. I know
Yeah,
that's not me, but
there's a community group there.
there's a, yeah. Springway Citizens Association. Sandhurst, where is Sandhurst?
Off Old Up Road,
In the
Sandra.
Kingston 6 area.
Yeah. Mhm.
Salisbury and its environs. Where's Salisbury?
That's
Kingston again.
probably Kingston. Or,
Queensway Citizens Association.
you know where Queensway is, right?
No.
Kingston.
Is there more than one?
Yeah,
Oh.
man.
Paddington Terrace.
Yes.
Kingston 6 again. Hope Pastures, Kingston 6. New Kingston Citizens Association, that's the Kingston 5 area,
Yeah.
I guess.
You get-
Mona Heights,
Yeah.
Mullines Gardens,
I know it's beginning to spread.
Ligony East, Lee's Flat, I know where
So
that
Red Hill-
is.
Red Hills.
Red Hills, Irish Town,
Yes, it's gone all the way up.
Harbor View and
the
Harbor Drive.
Yes.
Havendale, Meadowbrook,
Yes.
Golden Triangle Neighborhood Association,
That's a famous one.
Kingston 6
Yeah,
area,
right there,
yes,
so-
okay.
yeah.
Freeport, Montego Bay, so it's the two cities.
Right?
Forest Hills Citizens Association.
Yes. We know where Forest is, right?
Red Hills, near to Red Hills?
Yeah, right.
Okay. Edgecombe and Gainsborough Avenue.
That's off the
Edgecombe.
Kingston 6, Edgecombe area.
Kingston 6 again. Eastwood Park.
So we're now gone into where there's
It's
a lot of
Eastwood
commercial
Park Gardens.
where there's a lot of
Commercial-
commercialization happening
I
with the
see.
building.
Yes,
right?
so the character of the neighborhood is changing. Cunningham,
Stadium.
Herb McKinley, Latham Avenue,
Stadium Park,
Charlemont Drive,
Kingston 6.
Barbican Community,
Yeah.
Blue Castle,
Yes, I know where that is.
up in the St.
Right
Andrew
across from
North.
JC.
Oh, from
Because
JC.
it has an entrance on JC and one
This
that
is
comes from
Jamaica
one-
College?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not up in the hills.
No.
Is there a Blue Castle up in the hills?
Yeah, Newcastle.
Oh, not Blue Castle. Okay.
Arcadia.
And Acadia
Yeah.
Citizens
So
Association.
it is what I'm seeing is a makeup
Yes.
of different people. It's interesting. In Montego Bay, you have rural, you have
Mm-hmm.
city. A lot of people are saying, but we need to do what we need to do to get it happen. So it's interesting, and I think it's
So,
going to expand.
Yeah. But I do see, we're going to say a preponderance, a high number of the high value neighborhoods. So if you ask where is the middle class in all this and the well educated, the ones who use their brain power to mobilize and to drive a certain type of activism, they're here.
Right.
Citizens' Rights to the City has 24, actually, they have 24 associations, but they cover residents from 29 communities. I like how that is. Yeah, they're comprised of 24 associations, but individual members, groups and members are drawn from 29 communities and they list them here. I've just shared it with you. If you heard the name of your community, and if you didn't, just know when they're here, you can discover how to become a part of it. Let me tell you, big things start in small movements.
Well, that's scripture. Do not forget.
Do not despise
Despise
the day of small beginnings. Because today you open your window and you realize that what happened? The whole place dark and gloomy. Why? There's a massive sky rise that has just blocked all the natural light from your kitchen.
Yeah, but you know what?
And you realize that while you were sleeping, things changed around you.
I never ever know.
And
Ball
by-
and chain.
And
Ball
by,
and chain.
by sleeping, I mean you were not paying attention,
Attention to the
and
way-
maybe others were even trying to wake you up and say,
Okay.
don't you see? But you were too busy attending to other matters. And when you came to, the whole picture had changed.
When you came to,
When you come to your senses,
it had moved and left you, and then it never concerned you initially.
yeah.
But now that it concerns you,
So tell me about the
everybody-
ball and chain, because that sounds like,
No, man, ball and chain.
who is ball and chain?
your good friend,
Oh,
Bolandis,
oh,
and he
oh,
was
oh.
talking about what was happening in terms of these developments that are happening, and he says, "No ball and chain," which you interpreted for me. He was referring to ball and chain. Was saying she wake up and she have to know be watching her, closing her window because of the development that was happening next door, and people could peer down into her house.
Yeah. So, undoubtedly, these small violations grow to be even bigger violations. So, one moment you realize that the natural light to your kitchen has been blocked. Why is it blocked? There's a skyscraper beside you. How did it get there? Because you are living in a country where those who should guard the gates and ensure there's proper consultation and ensure that people adhere to the rules that are laid down and so on were slack and you didn't notice. So it takes you to the whole business of accountability and governance. Just
Self-control.
that. My kitchen is dark. Just that observation. Why the kitchen so dark?
Today, but it's gonna be
brings
dark
you
forever.
it brings you in full confrontation with the systemic rot and lack of enforcement capabilities in the governance of your country. Can you imagine? Just that observation. Why my kitchen dark?
But don't make the connection. It's like people don't understand the not holding of this local government election, the
Yes.
implications for people on the ground. Local government is related to building permits. You know?
Yes.
People don't even
Oh,
make
yeah.
that connection.
And
That the
building.
parish council,
Yep.
that
Yep.
building
Yeah.
permits. So
It's
people,
it's the councillors whom you appoint who sit on your parish council, and then the larger issue of governance and accountability arises where what is the real value of a parish council if you have a national works agency who can just come in and change up everything that is done at the local level? Or when you send something to them, they
they fix it up.
overrule whatever has taken place
They
at the
can.
local level. So those issues come right to the top of the table. Believe me, this citizens' rights to the city has the makings of the next government of Jamaica.
You're being prophetic.
I am. Because the issues they tackle and their effectiveness in breaking ground will push someone from that little pond into a bigger pond and a bigger pond. And I noticed that attorney at law, Mr. Gavin Goff, is very vocal in, yes, so it's going to be fun. Clearly you can see this is something I love and I'm interested in. I'm going to stop talking about it now because I brought a scripture for you, Percy. I brought a scripture for you. Actually, I brought two because as we've been talking, something that was said to me in the break made me go and hunt down the parable of the sower, the one who planted good seed.
And in the night, somebody come and post up, you know.
And in the morning, he saw something else. And
the person said, "No, go cut it down." Him said, "No,
an
man."
enemy has done this, is where my spirit is. Because sometimes you set about doing good work and you've laid the proper foundation. But while you were taking your rest, someone was busy planting discord, planting bad seed in your garden, in your field, and the two begin to grow together. Jamaica is very much looking like that field. Because when you look at what some people are doing and the heart they have for it and, you know, what they're putting out,
And then
the harvest is not what it should be, which means, but when you look, you can see somebody else has planted alongside you.
Is it because you have a mixed bag without a fixed vision up where you need to go?
Ah,
Because that normally happens. Because remember, you know, even as we are in the Lenten season and heading towards the season of,
Crucifixion morning.
yes, and Judas was there.
Yeah.
Judas was there and
And
seen
he was
all of the things.
and he was invited.
And he came and he was
Yeah.
eating there. And he,
Right.
and at the end,
Judas wasn't a groupie who just attached himself to
He
the
was-
band. And yeah, he was a bona fide member.
Yeah.
Belonged at the table.
so and then you said, but how could he? But
We're going to return to that. I wanted to plant that one in the garden of our discussion because we ourselves need to develop a better understanding of why there is such a sharp disconnect between what we desire and what we get.
I mean, policy and implementation.
No, not even implementation. What you desire, what you set about to do, what you lay the foundation for, and what you get. So, for example, you may have a counselor into whom you have poured all of your vision for your community, and you send him forth. When he goes to the council and participates in
Don't
council
represent
meeting,
you?
what happened precisely? Is it that while you were pouring good things into him, somebody else was pouring a bad thing?
I was listening to something else.
And he was listening to something else? Or is it that when he gets there, the system ignores him? I want to develop a better understanding of where it goes off track, because we know, per the parable of the sower, that the good seed and the bad seed will grow up together. Because
Until the day of reckoning.
yeah, the workers were saying, should we just pull it up now?
And him said, no, man, hold on. No. Make it grow.
Let them
until,
grow.
Until
There
then
will
they
be a
come
day
to
of harvest,
and reap it.
a day of reaping. So
But the question is, how do you guard yourself against known bad seed?
you don't guard yourself. Your creator guards you.
You say, you know,
Yeah.
you know somebody,
Yeah.
and you see actions, and you see
Yeah.
people, and you say that person they have bad heart,
But remember, you know,
and
that,
then they
that
just leave them up to God and say,
Yeah.
vengeance is mine, I'll repay. But
Yeah.
you continue to have a good heart.
but just remember now, I always like to run this simulation. Your father has many, many children. You're all his children. You're all equally loved unconditionally. So he knows, for example, that he might say, Percy will sleep late. Minette will wake up early, but she'll waste time in the morning. Percy, once he's awake, is very organized. Hear what he'd like. He'd like Minette to wake up Percy, and when Percy wake up, Percy help Minette to be more organized. That's what he'd like, where I use my strength to pull you along, and you use yours to build me up. He wants us to work in unity. So my shortcoming is going to be the perfect complement to your strength, and vice versa. Therefore, he will, we are interdependent, and he will put us together. So the bad in me is growing right alongside the good, and the bad in you is doing the same. The day of harvesting is going to determine which one predominated, which was more dominant. If I can help you curb, trim back, prune, get rid of the bad habits, then on the day of harvesting, the two of us get up. Oh, you go into the good barn. You over there, fire for you. But the point I'm making is that we don't seek to eliminate what we don't understand or the things that we don't find favorable. We seek to change, because we speak repentance and redemption. And if all the bad weeds or seeds were just removed from the garden, what would challenge us?
You see them as a challenge.
I see them as
Some
a
people see
part of
them as a
how
nuisance or a part of the growth process.
I see them as part of how I improve myself and how I grow.
Okay, so you see it as a part of the growth
Yeah.
process. I call them grace builders.
Well, same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, same thing.
I said, some people are in your life, and whatever you try to do to them, just always come back. And you just say, okay.
That means you need to change them and make them family, since they're not going nowhere.
No, but
Anyway,
it's a serious thing as
Yeah.
they come up on the break. Some people come in your life to
Gosh.
grow you, for you to become better. They are what I call grace builders. And when you recognize their purpose in your life, you treat them as such. You don't try to destroy them or dash them away.
No, because
They're
yeah.
grace builders. That the grace can flow even more in your life.
Are we taking the break because I don't want to start a new idea, and I have a radical new idea that I want to lay out. Okay, please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning connection. Yeah, that as we were talking about, I call him grace builder. It's an interesting concept, but I say to people all the time, as an individual, you have control over how you respond in the situation. And for me, I always seek to respond rightly, but some of the time you really have to count to 10, when some people come, you say, oh,
But
what is it
listen,
again?
I mean, you call them grace builders, and that gives it a very personal kind of tone because each of us are under construction, under
Yeah.
development.
Correct.
We want to be our best selves,
Correct.
and it's not necessarily in the spiritual vein that you want to be as God designed you or ordained you to be. It's not even just that. If we want to be more in control of our emotions, more in control of our bodies, if we need to exercise more, eat better, practice some better personal hygiene
And
things.
those kind of
There are
things.
some people who set some standards for themselves and you want to hit a high grade in those standards all the time. And then there are others, you want to be kinder, you want to be more patient with your children, you want to be, more disciplined in how you hit certain personal goals that you set yourself. 10 years ago, you said, at this time, I should have a house and 2 cars and be doing a vacation every 6 months or every 2 months. You don't even have a car and you're still living in your mother's basement or whatever it might be. And you want to be more disciplined in getting those milestones, those personal targets off your list. And you're wondering, well, how do I move from where I am to the place that I have set? I set for myself. That's my personal goal or ambition. And I'm not going to tell you, you need Jesus. You need Jesus all the time. You got to figure that out by now. But even those who are highly anointed, you know how many anointed brothers and sisters out there who can't get work, who, many things are happening and they're not advancing or progressing, but they are still highly anointed. They pray for you, things break open for you, but their thing don't break open. They're still stuck in a certain place. So the question always comes up, where am I missing a beat or just not as being as effective as I can? And I took you to the parable of the sower. A farmer and his workers planted good seed. They know it was good seed. They look at it, they say, yes, this is exactly what we want to plant. It's healthy. It is exactly as it should be. And in the way of parables, the next morning, it had grown. So we know it's not literally the next morning, but in the way of the parable, it grew. When it grew up, you look in there, you see every kind of boogie yaga seed sprouting things amongst your good seed. Getting ready now to strangle the seedlings and to starve them of nutrition. And you're scratching your head and saying,
what must I do?
how did this happen? I know what I put in the ground. Where are these coming from?
Some people
We're
say,
at the head scratching point now. In some of us in our personal lives, some of us in the nation. The nation itself is at a head scratching. Even ministers who may be diligent at their job are saying, this is the right policy. I consulted. I got the experts. I went through the country. I got all the agencies to say, yeah, we're going to this way. Now that we're there and we're trying to reap the harvest, we're seeing all kind of crazy. Where are the people who said, yes, I'm behind you? How is it that we're not seeing the fruit which we anticipated? And you have to do a post-mortem if you dig it up and cut it open. But you have to do the analysis to figure out where it breaks down. So I'm asking, in the story of the governance of Jamaica, we know that the Constitution is crap. I'm not talking about the Constitution anymore. I am now talking about the individuals who are Jamaicans in positions of influence and power. They're doing their work, some in the private sector, some in the public sector. And if you just look at the political structure, you have a councillor who lives in your neighborhood and he sees that you have a problem with drains or bad road or the school or whatever it might be. All of you said to him, Councillor X, this is what we want to see. You didn't talk to the minister, whatever it is, the MP, whatever. He is to advocate. He goes to the parish council meeting. The matter comes up for discussion. Or maybe it doesn't come up, but somebody has applied for a permit to do something which touches and concern the area. I am anxious to know
There's a breakdown.
where it break down. Is it that he does his best for you and somebody push him back? Who push him back? This is
Or
where
it the
Jamaica
system?
is.
Or is it the system?
Oh, absolutely. Did he get a promise and then the promise was withdrawn? Citizens out there with the representative who in your community and at the rum bar or in the church hall or wherever you meet him, can you please get into the habit of meeting with them regularly, asking them the tough questions, making sure they understand what you want, what is important, and then be in a position to say where it broke down. Don't be scratching your head and having to say, well, an enemy has done this. There's always an enemy.
No, there's always
throwing
an
out
enemy
bad
lurking.
seed.
But the truth is, when you look in that mirror
Yes.
and you do the self-examination, like you're doing a SWOT analysis
Yeah.
of what has happened, and you know how to fix it, most times I believe people don't have the will and the courage to say, this is where it wrong, man. It was me.
Ah,
It was me.
You're taking me now to the conversation you and I were just having.
Yeah, it was where did I
Yeah.
go wrong?
Yes.
Was I transparent? And then to take the licks, because most people don't want to take no licks.
Yeah. So now, you see, at the community level, we already know that a lot of citizens don't bother participate. It's only when their kitchen get dark, then realize, say, oh,
Yeah.
when the people were trying to get me to protest against this big building going up.
Because it wasn't next door to me.
Yes.
But it's the people them down the thing. Yeah.
Now it's my turn and I have no one to stand with me. It gone too far.
You know.
So sometimes it is your own non-involvement in the process
No, it
and
is
lack
not-
of support.
It is just call it that. It is your
Your
non-involvement in the process at
Why?
the beginning, because it don't really concern me.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna stand up, it don't matter me. But then when you need somebody to stand up for you, what happens?
No, everybody gone because
But
you didn't
everybody-
support
you
them.
never support
so
them.
you stand alone.
And
Yeah.
you know, that is how injustice thrives in a society. Because
That's how the enemy succeeds.
yeah, because me I say, I know me.
Yep.
It's not-
Selfishness.
Selfishness.
You don't
Self-interest.
You don't want to build somebody else's prosperity.
Let-
So there's that. And because you have been listening to the Morning Connection now almost 2 years, you are not one of those who stay out of the game and say it's not my business. You're one of those who participate. So now your new level of participation is this. Having given the vision of your community to your representative, your local representative, is to hold him accountable and not to just, inflict blows on him because he didn't bring back the goods, but to find out who tripped him up,
Yeah.
who is fighting your progress and don't want to see your community move forward, so you can take that fight to a higher level. Of course,
Greater involvement.
greater involvement. It's like going glory to glory, so.
Yeah. Because what I just remember in the conversations that Senator Crawford had on Tuesday, and he pointed to that fact. He says, the teachers, I just come out of the public square. The church has come out of the public square, and just leave everything up to the politics.
Yeah.
And say, what do you expect?
I'm so sorry I missed your invigorating discussion with Damian Crawford, because yes, I am one of those who look at the church and say, you got to do your part. But really, it's church leaders you look at and say that, because who's the church? You're in a church, I'm in a church, Damian in a church. Who's the church? The politicians are in churches.
Yeah.
We are the church.
Changing mindset.
So the only one that you could really say maybe short on a certain type of involvement are the church leaders who must lead on the critical issues.
Yeah.
Don't leave the body to flounder around.
But teach
but
them.
lead with the teaching, lead with the pointed advocacy.
Yeah.
Like Earl Brown is celebrating our new female hero, Angela Brownberg, for stepping up to the Speaker of the House and her crazy ways.
I'm calling her out.
And calling her out. So leaders have to be sounding that kind of clarion call. So persons who are of like mind can say, oh, that over there is addressing what I want to focus on. Let me add my voice to theirs. When we were in the break, you and I said, I'm going to find a way I'm going to use what we were discussing about as an example of what I'm talking. We have a number of schools, business organizations, you name it, where people work.
Yeah.
And the leadership of the organization, competent, educated, on the technical scorecard, they hit high marks for knowing their job.
Correct.
There's a vision which people buy into, and there are resources which are applied in proper order to bring the vision to life. Yet the vision flounders, it suffers, and somehow this talented, well appointed person can't seem to achieve the level of success. And you're at the head scratching point now saying, we planted good seed. Whence cometh these tears? I love the old. Yeah. Okay. When you begin to look into the deeper issues surrounding the person's integrity, morality, personal performance, behaviors, you find that they're sleeping with the staff, they're giving unfair advantage to whomever they like, maybe they have some, less than desirable way of administering things. You cannot be asking, how did this come about? Because you know that there are open doors which represent the tears that are sown by the enemy. You know.
So I don't know enough, sis.
So you have to confront it.
But some of the challenges that we have, you go through into different organizations, all over the school, blah, 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 and you say, why is this not happening? And everybody look and say, you don't know. But nobody wants to build the castle. But everybody is afraid of confronting the individual and say, but A, B, C, D, E. And that is a challenge we have across the board. But if things really are going to change, we have to have, I don't call it political will, just the will to confront and to say, you are standing in the way in terms of not just what you call a handful of people in the organization. It must be for everybody within the organization, which is what is happening in our country presently. Yeah. Because we're not calling it out. And some people have keep missing it, You see this thing of integrity, which is related to people's morality, and people say they don't need that. It affects how people relate to leadership. Because I can't trust you. How am I going to trust you that you're going to do right according to me? How can I trust you when you are standing up and you're making all these pronouncements? What, sir? Want you return.
Open door.
Yeah, open door.
Open door for the nation to suffer.
Yeah, because there is no integrity at the very top, and it affects everybody.
And it comes back to the point I was making, that where you may see a small, you see a symptom that looks minor, a small thing. For my kitchen is dark, and you're there wondering what happened to the natural light. When you look outside and see the tower that's beside you, that skyscraper is going to take you to, how did the government agency get to permit this thing? Who took a bribe?
Yeah.
Who did not do their job in overseeing what needed to be done? And so on and so forth. It goes deep. It is definitely
deep.
Yes.
So even the 12 that become the 32, that it looks like them going to have to lick it down.
Well, it will be interesting to hear
The 12, remember the 12 that was
How,
approved?
yes, the
That
development
became
building.
the two, and it
Yeah.
was in the paper up to a week ago. Them say, oh, when it gone to the court and the court has made an order, we wonder what that person gonna do. I'm going to pay. If I was that judge, I say, all right, if you want to continue, I
They,
find you $200
yeah.
million, which means you'd have just
Well, but the order has been made. The order was made.
to what?
The court had made an order
The liquor
concerning, I believe so. Yes, and but the
develop.
developers are saying that they they were already in dialogue with the authorities, the planning authorities, on how to remedy the problem and return to the 12. Because you can. You're taking down internal walls and reconfiguring.
You
Because, of course, because they have not exceeded the footprint, Think about it. You had a piece of land, you should put on a building that's divided in 12 rooms. You instead
put on 20
make it
more
into, what you
smaller
did
rooms
was
and
make it smaller, right? So if you take out,
your internals and oh,
so it
okay,
can be done.
okay.
So they said, but we are working to fix that problem. I think I see Dr. Carby.
That's her.
Yeah, so they're working to fix the problem. And then it brings up an issue now. Does the court have some kind of emotional skin in the game where if the regulator, whom they say should do the work, if the regulator says you can fix it this way, the court is still insisting that it should be, the court now have no stake in the game. You understand? The
Yeah.
court needs to make whatever kind of order it does and follow through. I see Dr. Carby. Do you remember me? We'll work on it. We will work on it. All right. So I did promise you that we are having visitors in the next segment. That will be done in due course.
But you have raised a
Are we
very
close to the break? No, we're not.
so you have raised a very, very important point. But I like how you just tracked it back, So you see this building
Yes.
and you say this building
Why
get here.
is my kitchen dark? I must write something called Why is my kitchen,
Kitchen
dark?
And then you track back and say, okay, now, what about the building permits? What about the approval? How did that go? And when you check for it, they say, oh, somebody was offered a bribe. Because I've seen that happening. I'm talking to, you have conversations with
Yeah,
somebody within
yeah.
construction, and he said to me, oh man, them are gonna fix that soon, man. Just give them one of the apartments and it's out. So I said, yeah, that's how we always do it. That's
Oh, wow. Yeah.
nonchalant. I said,
Yep.
wow, wow.
Because it's well worth it to someone
Yeah.
to gain that kind of material wealth.
Yeah, but so you think about the which leads back to corruption, which is tied into integrity
And governance.
and it just
There you go.
and
Yeah.
the things, right?
Anyway, I don't want to miss what inspired me this morning. I should use a different translation. You know how when you have to give up something, whether it happens as a result of an accident, you're in a motor vehicle accident and you're injured and your injury prevents you from enjoying some activity that was very central to your life. Say you're a footballer and you have an accident and you can
Break
no
your
longer
foot,
play,
you can't
play
yeah.
football. Right. You have to give that up. And in giving that up, the space that it leaves behind is filled by something else.
You try to fill it, but some people move depending on what is their
Well,
mental state.
it's filled by something else. It's filled by depression. if you want to take it literally, there's no vacuum, and that's scriptural too. If something used to afflict you and you get rid of it and you don't put
Fill it
something in
up
the
back, yeah,
space,
fill it up back with something.
yes, you just have it there nice. All you do is clean it and leave. Something gonna come and occupy it. That's why they say nature abhors a vacuum.
Which is a principle, yeah.
But it's a mythical principle because there is no such thing as a vacuum in nature. Something occupies the space. It might not be the thing you desire and you can't see it. And so you say, so the physicists say that it is not a scientific principle. It is more a spiritual principle.
That's what they say. That
Yeah.
nature bars are vacuum
Yeah, they
because
say it's
something
not
else.
science.
Yeah, right.
'Cause vacuum has antimatter.
The-
Yeah, the physics, the natural science, not the natural science. The natural scientists will say that and say if you cut the grass and try to leave it empty, a track will appear or something is going to appear that will make use of the space.
yeah, so.
But back to my point, sometimes you lose things because things change in your life and you have to move from one situation to a next and it represents a loss. The Apostle Paul says, "Yet indeed, I also count all things loss for the excellence of the knowledge of Christ Jesus my Lord."
So you press on.
I stop there. Instead of the thing which occupied your time and your interest in days gone by, you fill it with the knowledge of God.
Yes.
And those things which are of your past, you are happy to discard them.
I leave them
And
behind you.
you leave them behind.
You fill it with
because
something new.
here this scripture was in my spirit this morning. You've got to stop mourning the things that you can no longer do and step into acquiring a new and more fulfilling interest. Because if through suffering the loss of those things, you gain a deeper relationship and knowledge of your Creator, it is gain.
It always is game.
It's gain.
And if you, and I press towards the mark of the high calling, forgetting what is behind. It's an attitude of mind. You press on.
All right. There is something in the paper about the Integrity Commission, and I see. Are there threats against members of the Integrity Commission? I'm just picking up a note from one of our listeners saying, "Do we realize that the Integrity Commission is now the most corrupt organization in Jamaica?"
The tongue in cheek, right?
No, I think he's asking it. I suppose when you look at it, you're saying, okay, if that story about the Prime Minister, which was then replaced by the story about the Prime Minister being cleared, and then all the attention that
But that is a strategy. Let me just call it out.
Yeah.
Deny, deflect,
Destroy. So now Warmington wants Integrity Commission's prosecutorial powers yanked. Do you remember that Mr. Warmington was the first one who made the big statement about Mark Golding's heritage and started this race issue? He is the one who just set the cat amongst the pigeons, and then others follow.
And he needs to be careful, I'm calling
He
him
made
out,
the statement.
I am saying
he was not addressed.
No,
they
they
got rid
shut
of
him
the
up,
they
shut
got
him up.
rid of the political ombudsman's
Father,
office,
in the name of Jesus.
and now they're going for the Integrity Commission that they created.
Yeah. Because
I got a call, from the clerk of the parliament
So we must come.
to resubmit the yes. So now I see what is happening. Let's take the break and consider that when we return.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876 276 8935. That's 276 8935.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876 276 8935.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Connection. Um, we continue to explore the issue of the breakdown between policy and implementation from the standpoint of, okay, you meet with your local representative, you tell him this is what happens, and then he goes in and you see a different creature appears, and you're saying to yourself, what went wrong there, you know? And we're looking at different things,
Scenarios.
scenarios in regards to it.
Yeah,
But one of
'cause
the things that I'm weighing in on, and I'd use the scripture, Proverbs 29:18, and you had come out of Matthew 13:24 to 28 in terms of the sowing and what happens in terms of if you sow and then after the workers come and tell you, no, the seed that the good seed we sow, there are tears growing, then you say, leave it alone. But there are things that you can do in terms of preventing, I would say, from the good seed that you have sown to be overcome by the tears. And one of the things that jumps out is the integrity of position, integrity of intention in terms of integrity of heart. And I'm reflecting, I just want to take a little sidestep away
are you
from,
dancing?
yeah, to say the constitutional reform
That's
committee.
not a sidestep, man.
That's a big
You're
step.
stepping into it head on.
Yes, in
That's
terms
the
of
crux of the matter.
the vision. What is the vision that is in the heart of our leaders in terms of what it is? How do they see this new covenant that we are trying to look at? Because even with that, we are seeing where, and we were talking about it when we went into the break, the strategy: deny, deflect, destroy. Warmington, which is the same Warmington who had mooted oil out. Why we need a political ombudsman? And guess what? Political ombudsman is
Ombudsman.
gone. It's gone. But we are saying as Jamaicans that if you're having an integrity commission, or call it an anti-corruption agency, they need to have prosecutorial powers. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, we
they
are
need
saying
they need powers.
they need
Let's
powers.
not categorize the power yet. They need powers because one of the things you don't want to do is to create several entities that are all setting up their own courts and creating their own world.
But corruption, as we have corruption, as we have been saying, in your way, we really looked at it. It's one of the major deterrents.
Did you change the meaning of it while I was away?
No. Corruption is one of the main deterrents to the flourishing of the Jamaican people. And everybody can agree with that moot point that, hello, we need to fix this corruption. Because if we don't fix it, it is like a cancer.
I don't like the word fix.
All right. What would you say?
I want to eliminate where you fix it, where you fix it.
All right. Eliminate it. Cause it to become a minimal thing so we can flourish.
Yeah, man, you gotta eliminate it. It's one of the, it's waste that needs to be expelled from the system to restore health. So, I'm tracking you. You're saying now the Constitutional Committee, the Constitutional Reform Committee, has been appointed.
Yes, I'm looking.
It is 11 lawyers
Yes.
and the ambassador plenipotentiary.
Yes, it's co-chair. Along
Now
with
we see what Rocky Mead is supposed to be doing. I feel bad for him.
so you have all right. So
Yeah, 11 lawyers, former army chief, and
it's
civil
co-chair officer,
society
the prime minister.
is criticizing.
Too much lawyer upon it.
Yeah,
So you have he is. Then you have Derek McCoy. Then you have Tom Tavares Finson. Then you have Ransom Graham with a government. Then Donna Scott Matley, she's a lawyer. Then Anthony Hilden, he's a lawyer. Then Professor Richard Albert, who is a lawyer. Then Dr. Lloyd Barnett, who is
Is
a
a lawyer.
lawyer. Then Hugh Small, Casey,
A
is a
lawyer.
lawyer. then David Henry, who
A
is
lawyer
a lawyer,
and
then,
pastor. Lawyer pastor.
He's a pastor, yeah. He's a pastor now. He give up the
Been a
law.
pastor for a long time. I think
Yeah,
he's been a pastor now longer than he has been a lawyer.
Right. So I know because after I did, he left his law practice. And then Nadine Spence there was some controversy. How does she become civil society representative?
They're saying she's neither civil nor social.
And political commentator. She's a lady who is
I know who
slated
she
to
is.
become the head of PSA.
Yeah.
And she was in recent turmoil at the university when the students said, no,
Get rid of her.
Get rid of her. And then Lalita Davis Mattis represented nationally. And then you have who is this guy? Who is Boswell? It's a J youth advisor.
No idea. And somebody now, another attorney, Kenyatta Powell, has poured cold water on the group. Several approaches that can be taken in terms of, I have to ask who is Kenyatta too.
Remember, it was a guy who was acting as
Yeah.
the guy who was they call him again.
Anyway, it doesn't matter who they are. They're Jamaicans and they've expressed an opinion.
Yeah.
I assume they're Jamaicans.
And then what is it? Evaluate the said recommendations of JSSS, whatever that is. Office of the President, Parliamentary cross aisle, help dedicate the electorate. Then before them do this, they must go for the people them and ask them what they want. And I know a lot of Jamaicans would say,
Well,
yeah,
one of the things that we need to assure Jamaicans of, first and foremost, is that
we need to start our
so
own.
the government has announced a committee. Don't let that disturb your peace of mind. Create your own structure because ultimately the Constitution is going to be what we want.
It's our.
And if they think there's going to be a fight about it, they are going to lose that fight. There is no way in this modern day and age government could put a 1,000-pound gorilla over the Constitution and force anything down the throats of the Jamaican people. The time for that has passed so long
Pick
ago.
up the rake, as the mother say. Hope them pick up the rake.
We shall soon see.
Yes.
We shall soon see. I believe that there is a spirit moving across this nation, mobilizing people to move for self-empowerment and righteousness and justice. I know that we are a part of it, and I know that that spirit is going to wake up Jamaica.
Yeah.
I know that. And it's starting at the grassroots community level. Men and women across this nation are going to rise up and seek and claim what is in their best interest. And you know that politics emerges out of that activity. Politics don't determine or set that activity. Your political structure, the representation that you get, will be the fruit of that endeavor. And I really hope that Jamaicans understand that what they have been praying for has come. Just say your salvation is here. It is here. And we're going to make the best use of it. Earlier when I was going to that scripture that I shared with you, where the Apostle Paul was saying the things that he has lost. I mean, he was quite the zealot himself.
He was,
resisting.
That dangerous man, That dangerous. He was fully passionate about what
absolutely.
And he went about. He was a person who was there when they stoned
Stephen
to death. It was
outright
at his
murder.
feet. Yes, it was at his feet and them threw them. And they say, yeah,
I am the man.
Stone them to death. Yeah.
And he was on his way to deal with some more rebels and blasphemers
And
when he was brought to his knee. And the life that he left behind, he says, it was rubbish in comparison to what I now do.
Towards, yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Pastor Percival, you can mark this day. You see everything you did before? You came into this place of ownership of your next step. You're going to call it rubbish, good as it was.
Yeah, move on.
When you see where God is taking you and what it means for this nation, and not just this nation, but oppressed people everywhere. I'm not going to say black people because not all black people are oppressed. Yeah, there are many oppressed people in other countries of the world who are under the boot heel of the same systems and institutions that hold us down.
Babylon.
That community is rubbish. That committee that they've set up, that committee shows no desire to be inclusive of the common man, you wouldn't do it this way.
You would not do it this way. And with all of these lawyers,
So you were wondering what the vision was, and others were wondering what the vision is. Well, they've shown their hand. That's the vision. Jamaica is gonna have to step up for herself, and rightly so. Why should we be sitting waiting like newborn chicks in a nest for somebody to drop something down our throat?
I said, this is where you must go.
At our age, we are not newborn chicks in a nest. We have seen the best of it, the worst of it under a constitution that came out of the Queen's kitchen cabinet.
Yeah.
We've lived with that for 60 years. We've lived with it. So we know what we don't want, and we know where we want to go to. Come on. The people will have to carve that. And there's no handout that you can accept in this situation. You gotta get up and do the work. Fight for it with everything that you've got. We break this now, future generations will be having a much easier
We'll
time.
be happier for it. We'll be
Absolutely.
So, we'll be say, oh, thank
Our
you.
great-grandchildren will...
And that is what we have to think,
yeah.
because that's the point I was making. We have to shift our focus and ask ourselves, what must we do now to ensure that not my grandchild, but my great-grandchild is in a better place than we were.
Yeah.
And somebody had raised the point, you know how much money your great-children have because of the debt of this country?
So now, just to show you the fallacy and the hypocrisy behind what we're doing, we're setting up a committee to look at constitutional reform to move us into a more equitable style of government. And a senior lawmaker in the House, Ms. Warmington, is asking for the constrictions in the current constitution to be used as a way of silencing the Integrity Commission in the exercise of its powers.
The duty. Can you imagine?
Basically, that's what he's saying, you know. He's looking at the old constitution, which gave everything to the Director of Public Prosecutions, and saying that the Integrity Commission should not have any power that give them teeth or control over inflicting punishment on corrupt individuals. All of that must stay with the DPP at a time when the DPP's office itself is being criticized for being too much under the boot heel of government.
Because they're appointed by the prime.
And you want an extension of your appointment, and your different things are going on. Oh, it will not be. It will not be. All right, we're going to shift focus a little bit because our guests are arriving, and we want you to be in a very calm and hospitable mindset
Before you leave, you know.
before we shift.
Red herrings, you know. This is pure red herrings, you know.
We're rainforest, the seafood people.
Not giving any free advertisement. You see, he is the representative that is mouthing what a lot of them thinking, because they don't want to give up power.
Yeah.
They don't want to give up power. They don't want they don't want to be called to be held accountable for their actions.
Oh, we're getting some serious
Don't want to
competition
do
from
no,
the
they don't want
grounds
to do
people.
that. Man. They don't want to do that.
Well,
And it's clear as you look at it that people are saying hello.
I like how you describe Mr. Warmington as the one who speaks the unspeakable,
Yes.
that those who are more careful or have more longevity
Than himself.
left in
I'm saying
their
that it's soon
career.
gone, you know.
He's saying soon gone. So he don't have to be
So them sit
careful
down in
about
council and
goodwill.
say, they know
Let-
say you go talk anything.
let
You go
Wami
talk
do
it.
it.
You go talk it out. We back you, but we can't say
We can't say it
it.
because we have a future.
Yeah, no. You
So
can't
what
say
a
it.
sacrifice he makes for his party. that
Because
he-
it's a party animal, you know.
Yeah,
say?
it's a
Well,
party animal
it's a
that means
party
a whole
animal.
different thing. First, the party animal means something different.
He's a party animal.
It's a diehard.
Die-hard party animal.
Party animal is someone who'll party all night.
Yeah, but in partying all night with the spot.
Just trying to lower the temperature.
You try to lower the tension.
Yes.
We should have a party. Celebration. Oh boy.
So I see Mr. Warmington borrowing from some of our submissions on the Integrity Commission structure, because he says it is untenable for for the Auditor General to carry out an audit of a committee of Parliament of which she herself is a member. Because I think the body of commissioners ought to be differently configured. And that was a part of our submission. So I told you that I received a call reminding me that we were going to resubmit and
You
make
come back
ourselves
again.
available. I don't know if we're going to go back. They might not. They might not
At that
invite
time.
us twice. They might say, but I will attend to it on the weekend, God's willing.
No, but as you speak about that, we just have to do what we need to do. And I remember there was a time when there was only 1982 and the PNP never contested the election. They had these moving parliament where the people could come and talk and things. Coming like, they're not going to do it, somebody have to come up with it. Do the church hall and here are the people them and say.
But remember, you know that you and I are
TMC,
doing, we are doing our tour.
Yeah, we have to do the tour to hear what the people are saying.
I need a few more days to settle myself on some issues, and we're going to take it to the streets, because now that they have formulated their committee, we want to be keeping pace
What is happening?
with what is happening. In fact, we're ahead because we have already started some, awakening of the senses on the issue. So the MP, this is where the rubber meets the road, Percival. Mr. Warmington is attempting to shut down the powers of the Integrity Commission to request information on statutory declarations predating 2017. So he's saying, let past corruption remain where it is. Let bygones be bygones.
That's what him actually said? No, man. But
He told the committee members that he was informed that the commission had requested information on past statutory reports, claiming that those declarations were incomplete. He recommended that the commission should not have any jurisdiction to carry out any proceedings under the act before it was passed.
What is he hiding? What are they hiding?
He wants to deny the existence of the Contractor General's Act and activities. So anything that predated the Integrity Commission's existence is close to them. They didn't exist then, so they have no business inquiring about it. He must be smoking something.
He always is smoking something, unfortunately.
He recommended that the commission should not have any jurisdiction to carry out any proceedings under the act before it was passed. I don't know what he thinks that means. Further, Warmington wants a removal of the section which provides parliamentary privilege to the commission when it submits its reports of investigation to Parliament. If you do it for one, you do it for all. In other words, he wants to be able to attack the Integrity Commission, sue them if they publish a report which has matters which are later, discredited or isn't that interesting? They're to take their parliamentary privilege should be taken away.
Trying to get them.
All right, we're going to take our 8:30 break. When we come back, JPS is in the house, bringing light and power to the people. Ruth Lynn is here. She's not wearing red today, guys. She's in purple like myself, the color of royalty. So just stay with us. We're going to be right back. Welcome back. It's that time of the morning. On Thursdays, we are fortunate to have a partner in house with us. This morning, JPS is here with the JPS Cares program, which when we imagined it, we called it digital literacy. It was a segment in our digital literacy program because we had such a concern for citizens having to navigate this digital age, dealing with so many different things online and not having the experience and the comfort level. And our friends at JPS, we certainly know they care for the morning connection because they came on board with us. And this morning, our guest is none other than the vibrant and vivacious Ruthlyn Johnson, Customer Service Area Manager for the Eastern section of Jamaica. And the better parts of, oh no, St. Anne.
You have all of the work.
I said, St. Anne, not in it.
You're
Yes,
up for it.
yes, yes.
You're up for you. Remember, she brings the light.
So, light and power. Yes. So, welcome, Ruthlyn.
Thank you for having me. It has been a while.
It has been a while, yes.
But I'm-
Not
I
our
feel
fault. It's your
neglected.
fault.
Well, I'm fixing it starting this morning.
All right.
All right. Welcome, welcome. I know you're 100 years old this year.
Yes, and I look good, don't it?
You
Like,
are
look,
looking
yeah?
good.
Not a wrinkle, not
No,
a
not
not
a
a blemish.
spot.
Not in the
I
world.
tell you. Was that said sotto voce? Should I say it out loud?
No, you won't. No, you won't. We don't want anybody to think we're enabling anything that we shouldn't enable.
My dear, but the last sotto voce comment that was
Got people in
that's
trouble.
what got people in trouble. So we're not going to repeat that. But welcome. It's always
Thank
a pleasure
you.
to
Yes,
see
it's
you
good to be here.
in our
Good to see
outdoor
you.
studio.
Right. It's nice though.
I love it.
It's nice and cool this morning.
Yeah, and the mangoes. Well, I don't promise that you'll get any mangoes this morning, but
It'll start
they've
raining.
begun to fall.
Would be nice though. So if any falls, you know,
It's yours.
it's mine.
All right. We'll let the producer will keep an eye
Right.
on the crop. But off camera, we were talking about the necessity for the mobile application to provide more control,
Convenience.
more yes. And this morning, I think you're going to share some things with us.
Yes, I'm here to tell you about the mobile app because just about everybody has a mobile app these days. I was actually very surprised some time ago when I thought, would there be an app to tell you how to get rid of mosquitoes or to kill mosquitoes? And I did it, typed it in Google, and there was an app with a sound that a high-pitched sound that we can't hear, they say, that would actually chase the...
I hope you didn't buy it.
I don't know. I didn't buy it.
my
I've never purchased an app in my entire life. I don't know
Well,
if that's good or bad,
but
but
it's not just that.
all
but
apps
an
should be
app
free.
that you can't hear.
Right. Means it could be something else.
Unless
But-
you're a mosquito.
but it was said that there was an app that could actually, you know, it was presented to me. I didn't download it, but there was an app. So I'm thinking, hey, if everybody has an app, there's an app for everything. Then in Jamaican parlance, them are better than we. We must
Then,
get have one
we
too
must
at
get have
JPS.
one, yes.
So I'm here to tell you about our app. Not because we want you to put another app on your phone, but that, to be truly honest, most customers who've already downloaded our app, they will say to you that it's one of the best apps that they have in terms of
Life got
doing
better.
business with companies in Jamaica.
Wow.
Yes,
That's a major one, you know.
it is. People, they'll tell you there are little hiccups, and because I won't say it's perfect, there are hiccups from time to time, but you really have an app that gives you real-time information, and you can actually do business that saves you from going to an office. So people who are on the go, especially people who are busy, people who don't have time to be sitting down in an office waiting a while to get service, because people do come to our offices and complain, why it takes so long to get through? But to be very honest, when some people come to the office with a particular issue, one issue with a customer can take 1 hour, 1 hour and a half,
Yes,
dependent on the nature of it.
True. And
And
if
then
you're-
others are sitting down waiting.
Yeah.
When you could simply have gone on the app, lay down in your bed. For me,
Yes.
that's the beauty of technology. I'm
solves
in
your
my bed
problems.
with my laptop or my tablet or my phone, doing business, serious business,
Oh,
and I
yes.
don't need to leave the comfort of my house. The convenience is just absolutely wonderful, and that's what the app does for you. The thing is that persons use the app for some specific things, which are beautiful, to pay their bills, to monitor their usage. and maybe to actually see their bills, to to be able to see what your bill is.
So worldwide, there
Right.
has been a definite movement towards giving customers more control and more convenience. What were the driving factors behind the development of the JPS app?
The driving factor, download. You don't have it yet?
First of all, shame on you.
Please press download.
Well, must press
Open.
on.
So,
One of
breaking
those.
news.
Those
One of
words.
those.
Breaking news.
That's but I'm being your guinea pig. You're talking about it. So I just went on my phone.
First of all, let
found
me
the
guinea
app.
pig now. You look delinquent.
Oh, that's all right. That delinquent guinea pig.
Leave.
I have it on. I have
You
it
know
on.
you're the only one right here.
The
I have it on
only
my
does not
one.
have
laptop.
it.
I have it on my laptop.
Oh, no. I will take it back. We roll it back. We
It's
roll
on
it back.
my- it's on
He's just
my
putting it on
laptop.
additional devices.
It's
So
all
he's getting
All
into the
right.
mix now
Okay,
properly.
saved. You're saved.
Right. So
I was starting to feel shame.
No, sister. No, it's on my laptop.
thank you.
All right. Okay. Okay.
So the question again was, what was the motivation?
What was the driving? Because I know there's
driving
the
force.
convenience and control are what a lot of people go for.
Right.
But when your app was being designed, what did JPS want to give its customers?
Well, the app was designed because, of course, to be very honest, everybody was creating an app. So we were
You just needed your
we're
own.
thinking we
Resource.
also need to be able to offer that kind of service to our customers.
Yes.
For them to, for them, yeah, we're a happy nation.
You must
For
have
the-
followed the
for
producer
them
now,
to be
because
able
most
to-
times
These are the
for them to be able to do business with us much easier. That was it. One of the key things that we have as a part of our strategic goals is doing business with much less difficulty. So doing business
yes,
easier.
yeah,
And
okay.
we realized that an app would give you that that
so it answered that
control
need as much for JPS
Right.
as for the customer.
for the customer.
Right. Okay.
Because even though people think we're not caring and loving and wonderful, we do
Who that?
care
Who
about our
think that?
customers. There are those who think that way, but the thing is that it's natural based on the kind of service that we provide and the nature of our business. Whenever we have hiccups,
Yeah.
they're major. Nobody
Yeah.
can
Everybody
tolerate a
feels it.
JPS
Everybody
hiccup,
feels
and
it.
so it causes people to think that
Yeah.
we are
Light
really
and water.
right because it's life. Those are the life.
And you
things.
don't get to choose your customers.
No, we don't.
So you have to be able to meet everybody at
Yes.
some common
Because even the
point.
consumers, they
Yeah.
will come out and demonstrate.
Yes.
They're not paying, but they're demonstrating that they don't have power. Can you imagine? Or
They're not-
visit
they're-
the consumers, not the customers.
Not the customers.
They're
Consumers.
consuming
They're
without
not
paying,
the-
and the pump goes
Important
away. There's an
distinction.
outage in the area, and then they call. We don't have any power. Can I have your account number, please? Well, they don't have an account
Jimmy,
number
we have account.
because they're not a customer.
Not a customer.
But they're complaining that they don't have power. It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
fascinating business we work
Yes.
in.
But
Yes.
you've raised an important point there. Is your app accessible to consumers or
No,
only
because
customers?
you need an account too.
You have to need a code. That's what it.
The thing is, you can download it.
Yes.
You
You
can
can.
download
Yes,
it, but
but
you
can't
probably
get
only
past
be
the
able
front
to.
door.
You probably would be able to see where the outages are across the country.
But they can't
But
do
you
it.
But
wouldn't
that's
be able to
useful.
do anything.
That's useful still to be able to see where the outages are.
I can't see over.
In a sense.
So it also
You
has
introduce it to the-
so it has the added benefit of sort of narrowing the fields, so
Right.
JPS can be in direct
Contact with
communication with,
our-
customers,
with customers,
Customers,
right.
not
and
consumers.
focus your attention more.
Right.
Which is good for the customers, because then your time is not spent dealing with
With
those
them.
who don't add to your bottom line.
Right.
So that is a definite bonus for all concerned.
I think this is going to be his takeaway for today.
I know. You've taught him something.
Yes.
The difference between
Right.
consumers and
I
customers.
really think about that. It was the same.
No, they're not in our world.
No.
Jargonized in
Yes.
our world, customers and consumers are two
pay your
different, two different demographic
Consumers eat.
and don't
that
pay.
is a worthwhile distinction.
Right. So one of the key things I want to talk to our customers about this morning is usage tracking.
Yes.
Now, it is critical for, and we were talking about prepaid customers off camera a while ago, but the thing is, you want to be able to have an understanding of how much you're using.
Sure.
Because generally speaking, people use electricity and it's a nice commodity. It's
Just use
there.
it.
It runs in the
It's not
background.
tangible. You can't really feel it. And if you feel it, you're in problems. But the thing is, you're just going along doing your thing, and then you get the bill at the end of the month. I did not use this.
JPS 2 tape.
JPS 2 thief. We want you to be able to track your usage. We want you to be able to go on the app and see how much you're using. And this can be done monthly. You can see your usage monthly. You can see it weekly,
Are we at
daily,
Hourly?
hourly.
Even
So
minutely?
I was talking to the producer a while ago, and I was able to show him how much I've used since morning, 0.6, which means I'm negligible. I'm really...
You're not at home.
I'm
It's just something
well,
plugged in.
I left somebody there, but it means I really didn't use
Yeah,
anything this morning
yeah.
more than so.
I hope
I
you taught
discovered
him
one
how
thing.
to. Yes.
I discovered that there's a little difference between what she's seen and what I'm seeing.
Are
So I
are
guess
you
that's
on
something
mic?
that they will look
are we
at.
hearing
Yes.
you?
There's a
Okay.
there's
okay.
a tops of an
difference.
inconsistency sometimes. I've found it where
Yeah.
I've actually been in the office and a customer will say to me, I'm not able to do X and Y. And I'm like, but no, the app is, as far as I know, the app is working. So I go for my phone and I open it and everything is fine. And then I realize that her phone is saying something a little bit different. But I've noticed that there's a little thing between an Apple phone and
Android.
and an Android phone.
Yes,
So,
so the device-
IT
That might account for the
might
difference.
account for
Yeah.
it. So IT is aware of it. They've been working on it, trying to figure it out.
Right.
So you might have a little inconsistency with one or two. No,
So,
Well,
you know,
it's-
and
I wouldn't,
one of-
I wouldn't put it as far as an inconsistency.
Right.
It's just that there are some things that you are viewing on your Android
Right.
that I'm not able to
See,
see just
and
yet.
but we really want to.
Personally, I find the app to be very, very convenient.
Thank you.
Except for those little
Testimonial.
additional
Yeah.
conveniences.
And I
We
didn't
would
pay him,
stop it
people. I
right
didn't
there.
pay him. Didn't
no,
pay him.
it is.
You didn't
I mean,
pay.
on the weekend,
We
there
stopped
were
the
power
tech-
outages, and I
Yeah.
got the
Alert.
notification. Whenever you pay, even before you leave the place where you
see
pay, you get the notification to say that your
Yes.
account has been updated.
and that is
So the only thing I'm looking forward to know is
Is
to
the-
see my app on my iPhone to show the things that your Android
Right.
is showing.
Right.
so
which
that-
one is more give you more into the Android or the
It's-
iPhone?
The thing, it's not that. It's. Let me just clarify that.
cool.
It's
Which one
right.
has the more?
Right.
That's what
Android phones are usually totally up and running
So I
properly.
wanted to make a
but
point about
sometimes
the
the
technology.
the Apple phones are a little. I don't know. It's because
let's
of
make
their-
let's make the point about the technology, because I said to you off air that an application, a digital application, is as good as the network,
network.
on which it runs, because
Yes.
you have an internet network in the background and you have a computer network that it is transiting to give you all the functions, which is if you're using an Android phone, an iOS-based Apple phone, each software developer
Right.
does something a little different, and the developer of your application has to put in special
To
commands
bring it all
for it to
together.
give you the same experience on all these many platforms.
Right.
That's a part of our digital literacy program, which I
Thank
hope you will
Yes. Which
Come on board.
you will come on board, because it's necessary. Sometimes it causes frustration
yes.
when persons are having a different experience and they think it's your fault because it's your
They're
app.
definitely going to say it's GPS.
Yes.
You know, people blame us for
accustomed to
everything.
that.
You don't have water,
Yeah.
it's GPS.
But
the grass is not
those-
green, it's GPS. We're used to it.
That being said somewhere. Oh no. That
We
was
bear the brunt of
the politician
everything.
saying the opposition is blamed for everything.
Oh, yes.
The mic didn't work. It's the
Yes.
opposition.
But GPS gets blamed for everything.
It
but
could
we
also be
consider it.
GPS.
We take it as a privilege and an honor because we know that we are really integrally involved in,
In
every
the
aspect
nation.
of your life.
Everywhere,
But you
everywhere.
see,
So we understand.
but there's a saying,
Yeah.
you know, that what they say, no advertising is bad advertising. Even
Yes.
if people are talking bad about you, they're talking about you.
yes.
So your brand is standing
I
strong.
don't want to take away from your mission here.
Oh,
but
wow.
Just to endorse the fact that customer education is extremely
extremely
important,
important.
because persons have the habit of wanting the thing to be everything to them. And so we ought to understand that, look, if you keep loading features onto an app,
Slow
you're
it
going to
down.
have problems.
It's going to slow it down. It's
Yes.
going to cause issues. Yes. And so that's our responsibility
Right.
as
Make sure that
a company to make sure we're not trying to please everybody, because we do get the feedback and everybody comes in with their thing. Oh, I'd like it to do this. I'd want it to do that. I wish I could do that. And if you really start
You have to
to
say, make
please
your own
everybody,
app.
right?
Make
It's
your
called
app.
My GPS, but it's not really My
Right.
Right.
GPS.
There's some basic things that are important.
It's your GPS. All right. So the usage tracking feature is obviously an essential tool. I wonder though how much more you do to educate persons on what it means in terms of the usage, because you can translate it to dollar value, but when you're looking at it and you're saying, gosh, I'm using more than I can afford, how do I cut down this and that? Does it also go into what equipment you have and
Conservation.
so on?
That kind of information is not on the app. No.
Okay.
To be very honest, that's information that's on our website. That's on in brochures in our offices and so. But that, I'm sure we'll probably get to a point where we have a resource database on the app
Yeah.
where you can actually go and look at that
see
information,
what's
because we
going
have a
forward.
brochure that's entitled "How Much Does Electricity Cost Anyway?" And in that brochure, I think I brought it here before.
Yes, I
You
remember
can
being
look at the
educated.
fridge, how much it
Yes.
will burn
and you
it.
can see what the power
Right.
hogs are in your
Right.
house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that's important because the usage tracking covers that. If you know how much an appliance uses, then you're better able to manage your usage.
Manage your money.
Right.
It is.
It
It
converts
goes
into
right
money,
back to
so
magic.
it
Yeah.
is.
I think it's a nice segue into the budget setting feature.
Right. The budget setting feature is where you know how much you work. You know how much you get per month. You know how much you really want to use to spend on electricity, and you should decide. You shouldn't let JPS decide for you by sending you a bill that is at the end of the month. You should decide, of my $20,000, I'm only going to spend $5,000,
$3,000 this month.
$3,000 on
Yeah.
electricity. You should be able to set your budget and then tell your appliances and everything in your house and your children and your family, this is where we're going, 3,000 is what we're working with.
Children, toast is only
So-
on Sunday.
Right. So the thing that we put on the app for you to help you in that regard is a budget setting feature where you can say $3,000 is how much I want to spend. And when you put that on, the app will then start working with you. So because you have your smart meter and it's working, we can see the app now knows how much you're using. It can see your consumption daily, hourly, weekly, monthly. It then says to you at about 50%, hello, hi, you are now at 50% of that $3,000.
Okay.
You now look and say, hold on now.
Get a reminder.
I have to move in with Ruth Lynn for the rest of the month.
Kind of.
You might need to do that. You might say, brother, I'm coming over.
Coming over.
Because you have enough money and you can manage my
Yes,
load.
yes.
Or you're going to say, people in this house, hear ye, hear ye. We are now at $1,500 and we're only 15 days into the 30 days. So it means, Johnny, the tablet now going to turn on for the rest of the month. I'm going to take it from you. The game is not going to be played. You can
You
just,
begin
I mean,
to,
fine,
yeah.
you're going to have to be maybe draconian dependent on
Yeah.
your household. But you're able to say, we are not going to do any more than this. The fridge, we're going to stop going in there every minute. I know that you like to stand up in front of the fridge and decide
Get
what
cool.
you want to drink and eat. No, it's not gonna happen for the rest of this month. In fact, I'm gonna take out all the juices and put them in an igloo with some ice and pack it up on the table, and you just go pick up your stuff right there. And you're gonna hold it out. When you get to 75%, it's gonna tell you again, you're now at 75%. So you are getting reminders, you're able to manage yourself and you're able to keep your usage within that figure that you want it to be kept at. That's a feature that works for some persons. It's
And it's,
beautiful if you use it.
I listen to you and I just see how just that level of control over one aspect of your budget can teach you how to control every other aspect.
Right.
Because
your money.
once you have the skill and you develop that communication
Spread it
style in
across.
your household, in your business, it affects all
Right.
areas of your life. So, yeah.
Yeah,
JPS cares.
We do.
JPS cares and working for you all the time.
And I know persons might be even thinking, but why would JPS want to do this so that they don't get any more money? We want to do this because we don't like when you
Can't pay the
end up with a bill that you can't pay.
Yeah. Because one
So
way or another,
receivables are out of whack,
Yes,
and we have
yes.
issues, and then people end
Yeah.
up going to do things they shouldn't do, become consumers instead of customers.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen. We
I
want
think
we
you're-
want a good relationship with our
It's a point
customers.
that is worth emphasizing, that when your financial resources are finite,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
your desire to make more money is neither here nor
It's not
there.
going to work. We're not going to get it
You'll
from you
have more
anyway.
debt
Right.
Because there's, and I think it's something that touches every other aspect of our lives, to understand that if the pool of resources is finite, it really doesn't matter who has an ambition to get more. Right? There are more incoming.
It's not possible.
Yeah, all that happens is now somebody will be carrying debt because
Right.
the consumers will eat and walk away.
Thank you.
The customers have to do something
So
different.
there is but on the point of conservation, which we should never forget, even those who are energy producers in that market have an interest in conservation as an environmental and well-being of the planet issue anyway.
Right.
So I do, in that regard, as you introduce different, as say, forms of energy, is the app giving us any indication of a mix of energy, or are you at the place yet where you have cheaper energy that is available at certain hours of the day and persons can, some jurisdictions are there.
Not yet. But the discussion is
Underway.
On the way, and at
Yeah.
a very, very high level.
Yeah.
Because time of use, I think it will start though with commercial customers, because they, manufacturers, they do
Yes.
in the nights, they do their manufacturing when
Shifts and so on.
The
Whereas
demand
lower-
on
the
on
demand
grid
is
Right.
low,
lower
right?
specialized
Right.
rate
So
for
there's
that
actually
just
time of use for them, and
yeah,
peak
right.
demand, and we get into those kinds of concepts and discussions with them. Actually exists to a certain
Already,
extent,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
not for residential customers yet. But we're gonna get there.
I know, because I remember being in London at a friend's house, and she would stack her dishwasher all day and wash in the night because they got cheaper power
rates,
under some
cheaper rates in the night.
arrangements from Paris.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, Jamaica will get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
We
The
will get
discussion
there.
is there.
Yeah.
All right. Just to tell our customers how they actually get to set their budget,
Yes.
just in case they don't know.
Yes, and to
when you
request a
open the app,
statement.
when you're on the home page, you look for View More. It's at the top of your app. You touch that button, it will take you to a page that says usage and budget. You touch budget, and then it will say set budget. You
very simple.
press set budget, and then you put in
You
the
put in
amount
your
that
money.
you know you want to
Yeah,
spend on
yeah.
electricity.
Yes.
Right.
And
That's it.
remember that
That's it.
budgets
Easy,
are
easy.
meant to be conservative.
Definitely, you're trying to
So-
hold
But it's
back.
not meant to guide you.
Yes, so don't go crazy with it.
Right.
No, you can also request statement of accounts.
A
That's
statement.
something.
Now, a lot of customers come in. You may just be curious. What has been happening with my electricity bill? I feel like JPS robbing me now, because lately I
Mama
feel
rob me
like
extra.
Right. I feel like something different has changed. You can request a statement. A statement will show you everything that happened on your account.
So the statement
And you
is
can go
not
back
your
as far as you
invoice
want
for
to.
for the period.
No. It's a breakdown of
or relationship.
an itemized breakdown. It shows you the disconnection fee. You were disconnected in 2018.
I
You were
apologize.
charged a disconnection fee. A lot of persons will say JPS breached me on in 2018 because you sent me 3 consecutive estimated bills
Yeah.
by law, by OYOR's law.
Right.
You really should only have gotten 2.
Yeah.
If we do another one, we have breached.
Yeah.
It means you should get a payout,
Yeah.
a breach payment, and that's $1,650. Most people say they don't get it. They don't realize that they get it.
Yeah, you put it on
if
the
I
bill.
print your statement, I can go back and show you every breach payout that you would have gotten. So your statement is critical to give you a breakdown.
Yeah.
Persons who are overseas and send money to Jamaica to pay bills. Boy,
Oh,
I've
you're
been
creating
conflict
seeing
now.
it every now and then. Boy, I send
Create
the money
conflict.
and
The bill
oh, I
not
come to
paid.
Jamaica now and I don't have any power in the house. But madam, you owe $60,000. No, but I've paid this account every month. Print the statement. The statement is going to show you every single
dollar that came
payment,
in.
every single whatever. And when they get the statement, and you show them, then they sometimes leave very mad. And I start praying for Robbie,
Obey
because
people.
when them catch Robbie, we don't know what's going to happen with him, because
Oh,
clearly Robbie
no.
didn't pay over some of that
So of
money.
course now they can pay online.
They can pay
Through
online.
the app.
If you have the app anywhere in the
Yeah,
world,
you can
anywhere in the world at any time of day, and that's the instantaneous payment.
Yes.
The app is the only place where you pay your
goes-
bill and
you see it on your
immediately
account.
it goes
It's
to
the
your
account.
account. Yes.
All right.
It's like putting it straight into the vein.
Yes,
Alright.
yes.
So you want to do that. You want to pay on the app. So statement of account, you can get that by going on the app. You go to customer support and you'll see.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
tab
user friendly.
It's user friendly.
Yeah, you don't have to
The
have
thing
a degree.
is, for those
in
persons who are afraid of, because you know some persons are afraid of the digital
technology,
world. I
yes.
think
Gonna
it's
eat them.
Yes.
it's gonna eat them. What you need to do, just like when I get a new phone, I usually lay down and I just touch all the
touch,
tabs.
yes.
And just look where it takes you, what it can do. The same thing with the app. Just touch them. Just touch the things. It's not
All right,
gonna
let's
bite
not
you.
get
It's not
Pastor
gonna-
started because he does weddings and counseling and
Okay.
yes.
And we don't want him
We
to
don't want him to
launch
begin
off
to
into
absolutely what he tells newlyweds and the like. And it's a good time to take our break.
All right.
Oh wow, it's 9:02 a.m. Ruth Lynn, thank you so much.
Yes.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, and of course I'll have to come back to share the rest.
Yeah. Oh, you had more?
No man, but we can do it at another time.
Okay.
All right.
All
All right.
right. We always like to leave something for the next time.
Yes, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll just take our break now and stay right there. Coming back.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Miss Brooklyn.
Oh. Welcome back. We are in the home stretch, and we are so pleased to have with us at the table our friends from Citizens' Rights to the City. We did tell you about it from yesterday. We've been talking it up. Doctors Barbara Carby and Patricia Green, both of you PhD in your separate disciplines, and we'll hear a little bit about that. I boasted that I knew Dr. Carby from my years ago as a little lawyer doing work for ODPEM, and I thought of you frequently as we were going through the pandemic years and wondering how different would it be if Dr. Carby were at the helm. I won't ask you that question. And of course, Dr. Patricia Green, we've been reading and seeing the effect of your powerful advocacy, protecting the built environment and defending the citizens' rights. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Thank you.
Oh, well.
Good morning. No, well, I do, but my affiliation with the University of Technology has ended. But I do still lecture, and I love teaching, So when I go to Coronation Market, they call me Teach, and I say, "How you know?"
Because even in the market you
You're
teach.
teaching the people them something.
And Dr. Carby, how are you keeping yourself busy these days?
Well, I am happily retired, so I'm into gardening, farming. I reaped some lovely ginger this week.
Did you bring any? When
I
you
know
say things like that, you have to say, here it is.
You're right. I do a bit of dog training, obedience training for
Wow.
dogs, and I volunteer with different groups,
And you've begun writing again
I have.
in the newspaper.
Yes,
I
I
have
do. I
seen.
do write sometimes. Yes.
Yes. Well, we welcome you. Pastor Percival, finally you have two ladies. Is it finally? We've had two ladies before.
I've always had one lady, but
No, we have two ladies. But, welcome to the Morning Connection. Your advocacy group came to my attention very powerfully. Several, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I read one of the articles that spoke to the work you're doing in this city. We, at the Morning Connection, we advocate citizens getting involved in just advocating for their rights and pushing and drawing others to them. So I would love to hear a little bit about your advocacy group, how it came to being, and why you chose the name you have chosen. I thought it very intriguing.
Okay, thank you for asking the question. It's a very important question, and we recognize a number of persons are listening, and we're hoping that they would want to become a part of this. Now, I never knew I was an advocate. In fact, I don't even call myself an advocate. And there are those who would like to label me, Barbara, and all of us to say, you're all advocates against development.
Troublemakers.
Right, troublemaker. I don't even know what it means. Maybe I should Google it, But the issue is that there are a number of things that are concerning neighborhoods across the country, and in particular, the Kingston and St. Andrew area. And so the Citizens Association have come together, and it started very loosely by people just advising each other how to handle certain developments taking place in their neighborhood. As you know, I am an architect. I am also a historic preservationist. And so I am very concerned about the built environment and the fact that whatever is happening should take place with order. And so we speak about the orderly development, and so I have become a part of these various there are a number of different entities, because I offer what I would like to think is technical advice and expert advice, and if that's what is called advocacy, then so be it. Neighborhood Citizens Association and Citizens Rights for the City actually started with the Golden Triangle Neighborhood Association. As you know, they have a very prominent case in their neighborhood which has been in the courts because of a number of different things like modification of covenant, changes of the density, and all these kinds of things that are happening. The details are in the newspaper. And so as a result of that kind of the neighborhood coming together and speaking about these things and writing open letters to the Prime Minister, and a number of other neighborhoods coming in to join in this citizens association from all across Kingston. And so as a result of that, a very loose group of people began to share notes, began to support
Collaborate.
each other, and began to collaborate, because what is happening next door in Havendale is happening next door in Barbican, it's happening next door on Malines Road, it's happening next door in Eastwood Gardens.
So could you, for me, just give an example of how effective that coming together has been? What have you seen shift in the years that you've begun to speak more
How-
together?
How long has this been,
Yeah.
this loose association?
This loose association has been happening now for almost 2 years, I would say.
Okay.
And there are different names and different groups of people. And citizens' rights to the city is one group. And what has shifted?
Yes.
I will tell you. I was happy to hear the Prime Minister in his budget speech in Parliament on March 16th, actually saying that the development order for Kingston has been confirmed. He didn't stop there. He went further, Barbara, remember, by saying that he's going to impose an impact fee. It's my firm belief, suspicion, belief, that it is as a result of neighborhoods actually writing in the paper, going
The
on
advocacy.
TV to say exactly the
Yes, the
advocacy,
advocacy.
to say, you know, imagine the concrete trucks are the trucks are carrying the cement and spilling
Destroying the
concrete
road.
on the road and so on. The Prime Minister has said they're going to do an evaluation of what it was before, and they're going to charge a fee, and they're going to fix the neighborhood as it was before.
Who's going to pay this impact fee? Sounds
Well,
like
he's going to charge somebody, I
offender.
suspect, the
offender.
offender,
The offender.
right,
The offender.
to pay this fee.
Yeah.
And so we do have a number of questions as individual. I personally have a number of questions about that. But I think, in my opinion,
That's a victory.
I think that this has
It's a
come
victory.
about because the authorities have actually heard the voice of the people saying this is wrong.
Okay.
No, I
Remember
know.
this morning we were making light of the fact that you wake up and then you see a torrenting and
We were not
shadow.
making light.
We're making light.
Where did the sun go?
Where's my kitchen? Why is
the
my
sun
kitchen
go?
so dark? My question, and I actually wrote it down. Why is my kitchen dark? You just noticed that something has blocked your natural light.
Why
I
are
mean,
there people looking down through my windows? You know,
Yes,
which is a
yes,
real problem.
When
Yeah,
you
which
say
is a real
something, it's
problem.
not a tree.
And it's a building, a skyscraper. We were theorizing. I love that you have been able to make the connection between the increased advocacy and the policy pronouncements, because we were talking also about, this. Now we went biblical, I confess. The sower who planted good seed, and then in the morning there were weeds amongst it. Whence cometh these cares? We've been asking, and I think Jamaica has been asking on the issue of governance. We say what we want, and we get something else. How did we get a different result? You've just named one thing which shifted. Pronounced, vocal advocacy produces a response if someone is really listening. Dr. Carby, I know that you have worked in areas that required deep consultation with stakeholders.
Yes.
Does it work? In Jamaica, does consultation work?
Consultation works if it's done.
Ah,
You have to do it for
I
it to
thought
work.
I would prime you with that
right?
question.
So very often I find that our elected representatives, who should represent the collective will of the people, they take actions without consulting the people whom they're supposed
Whose will they're supposed to
represent.
Yes.
So where the two things I advocate constantly. One is informing the public. As you know, I used to deal at one stage with hazards.
Yes.
Right.
A country's best defense against any hazard is an informed population. Right?
Okay.
But to me, this is even more important in a country like Jamaica, where resources are low.
Yeah.
So I could give you an example. Now, we know, for example, that the authorities, the state agencies, do not have enough personnel to monitor every neighborhood
Everything, yeah.
in every
Nook and cranny
parish
of the country.
across the country. Now, what if the population was sensitized to the issues and there was a hotline that you could call, or there was a website you could go to and enter information related
Upload your
to breaches?
pictures,
Yes.
state what you've
And-
seen.
Right. So you would actually have what,
An army.
almost a million, 2 million pairs of eyes
You'd have an
looking
army.
out for you.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand why the authorities are unwilling to engage the population in a way that would help them to do their jobs. You know, it makes no
The
sense.
assumption you have made is that they want to shift what they're doing so the Jamaican population is more informed.
Yes,
You're saying to me they have good intentions.
well, they ought to.
Oh, they ought
They
to.
ought to.
So now this is the pastor, who is now highlighting that the lack of integrity is at the foundation
It could be,
of what is happening.
Yes, it could be a false assumption, in which case my whole argument would probably go out the window. But I would say to you that it may be incorrect, but it ought to be correct.
Right.
So if you are an elected representative and you're representing the will of the people, then
Yes.
consultation comes as part of that. I am always sort of disinclined to ascribe a motive
To person.
to persons.
Or improper motive.
Yes, or improper motive.
Yes.
So I always take the high road.
I take the high road
and
myself.
assume the
Well,
best.
I tell you.
I take the high road myself.
Perhaps,
I-
Pastor, you raise a good point. Perhaps we need to sensitize the leaders of the country
Yes, ma'am.
to some of these issues.
Well, we spend a lot of time on air speaking to those issues because the issues of governance and accountability are twinned, and we want the leaders to be held accountable, but we often see a misfit between what is the vision that you're holding them to account on. The citizen wants one thing, the leaders are pursuing another. We do push, like as you do, for more consultation, but we've recognized that it is not for the government to transform itself. It's for the people out of whom they come to be transformed and elect a government that represents them. I believe people get the government that they deserve. I truly believe it. I think if you sit back and allow the worst of you to rise to the top,
Yes.
you brought that into being. So what you are doing is of great interest to us. Is it that citizens associations across the nation can become a part of your alliance?
Well, we would like that, but it really does take a lot of work for persons who are volunteering their time and their effort. And so one of the key things is that the associations have come from the Kingston and St. Andrew area.
I did see
Montego Bay.
Montego Bay Freeport in the middle of it.
There is that as well, and primary reason is because Montego Bay has a current issue with NEPO, in that there is a hotel tower that's about to be erected within the context of a established neighborhood, which is going to be impacting traffic and sewerage and all the various things that's also happening in the urban environment in Kingston and St. Andrew. And so, including beach access, And so as a result of that, them working with the municipality, with the NEPO, so the expertise and the camaraderie
Yes.
have been extended to the
So
Montego Bay
the,
group as
the
well.
shared experience is a platform for greater inclusion. You don't block other parties who might want to benefit from your experience and what you're
Certainly
doing.
not, certainly
Okay,
not.
but you do need to be funded. How are you funded?
it's all volunteer. It's not organized. It's not a membership category. In fact,
It's organic.
well, I don't even know if that's a good word, but I
Grassroots
know
organic.
growing on its
I
own.
really shy away from all of those things, you know.
Nourished by God.
Because there was a time when I used to eat organic, you know.
You were
And if it
scammed.
walked on four paws, I never ate it. So, you know, when I speak about organic, I automatically think
yes.
of food. But really, it's I think it's wonderful. I pride myself, and I keep repeating to many people, I'm a member of professional bodies only. I pay dues to professional bodies. And this is one of the beauty about this particular group. It's that a group of people have come together to work and encourage each other. The chat is filled with, have you seen the condition of the road? A photograph of a high rise looking down into a swimming pool is sent in the group. How do we speak with a lawyer? Is there anybody who can advise us on what to do? Because fires are being burned. The hillside road is tearing down.
So whatever it is that is causing disquiet in your enjoyment of your community, your home, just your lifestyle in
and
the
as
country
you
where
mentioned
you
earlier,
live.
your bedroom, you know, I mean, right, your bedroom
not
and
like
your
a dark
kitchen.
kitchen.
You don't like a dark kitchen.
No, if my kitchen got dark,
But-
we'd have a problem.
Sorry, may I just add something to what Barbara has
Yeah,
said
because
about the
she was making
consultation?
2 points. What was the other one? I was just about
And consultation and public awareness and information.
And yes,
Right.
I agree.
Informing the citizens.
As you spoke, Barbara, I thought to myself, now, with this whole impact fee that the Prime Minister has announced, and he was very clear to say that they're going to develop a green paper on it. My question is, are they going to be consulting with the neighborhoods? So who is going to speak about the conditions of the road before? Who is going to
If
speak
you-
about it during, and who is going to speak about it after? You have to be working with the community. And in our group, what happens in this group, in the WhatsApp chat, people are sending photographs of what the sidewalk looks like. Hey, this is next door to my house. It's filled with gravel. The construction site that is legally supposed to be contained within
Has-
the hoarding has
has
extended
spilled
into the
out on the
sidewalk.
road.
The building blocks are on the sidewalk. The gravel is on the sidewalk. Even Minister Mackenzie, in his budget speech last year, mentioned all of these things, and yet it's still not resolved. He mentions it,
Well-
but yet it's not resolved. So with this impact, if as Barbara has said, if the
the
government
citizens-
is not going to be consulting with the citizens about what's happening in their neighborhood, how is it going to be effective? And so this is what is really reinforcing what Barbara is saying about the need for consultation.
So there are two things which I see emerging, and it's always a challenge how to move a discussion from policy and what's hurting the people
Implementation.
to how do we implement and enforce. I loved what you were saying about citizens becoming a part of the army of
monitoring-
watchmen,
monitoring, yes.
because the government, we don't want them to do it because we'd have to pay for it through taxes. They can't do it all. So the citizens need to be aware, and organizations such as yours play a powerful part in building awareness.
Organization. You hear what the lady said?
Yeah,
It's
well,
a network.
It's a network of, it's
It's a
not a
nice-
yes.
it-
Remember, we
yes.
spoke about quotidian civil
society,
society
yeah.
organizations, which are stated to have had the highest success rate for achieving change in society. It's the, people sitting together and just deciding that this can't go on. We gotta do something about it. You may never ever be incorporated or have an org chart, but the effect is still there. And if by inviting you here, we're adding whatever we can
Thank
to
you so
putting the
much.
word
Voice, that
out,
voice.
Thank you. We
so
really
that persons
appreciate it.
can be aware. And I'm
Yes.
so glad. When I heard that both of you were available, I said, well, so which one? They said, no, both. I'm like,
Okay,
really?
so-
It's an important thing you're doing, and we applaud you for it, and we're just adding or
Well,
listeners who
I receive it on behalf of all the people in the group
Yes.
because people are very active, very hardworking in their neighborhoods. The presidents of the various neighborhood associations are involved. They are part of the group. They go back to their citizens associations and they explain to them what is happening. They bring things from the citizens association and it is shared openly. Even CRC has actually made an appeal and written to the parliamentary committee. Oh gosh, I'm having a
which one?
on infrastructure.
On
infrastructure.
infrastructure. I think I
To do
read
a
your paper.
presentation.
Yes,
Yes,
I believe that is what I read.
yes,
the
and
review
went to
of it.
Parliament. And can you imagine, just to be Jamaican, imagine they diss CRC, they would not even allow them to come and sit and present their work and to begin to speak about the issues in the neighborhood.
Are you serious?
The letter was received, they acknowledged
acknowledged
receipt of the
receipt.
letter, they read it, but they wouldn't allow the
An
group,
appearance.
an
An
appearance from
Yes.
the presidents, the various neighborhoods that are
Mm-hmm.
impacted, to allow these presidents to come and represent the citizens in this nation. I mean, it's really very sad
Mm-hmm.
that, the whole process of consultation and the whole process of representation of the citizens is just being ignored. And as we say in Jamaica, them this way,
But you said the best way because even that comes to the point I was making.
Right, it does. Indeed.
Would you restate your point?
Yes,
after
I
the
will
break?
come after the break.
And you're here with us for the rest of the morning.
Oh, we are?
Yes, if as long as you're available.
Yes.
Finish at
So
10.
is it time for the break, sir? 9:31. All right, we'll just keep chatting in the break and
Yeah.
Oh, it reached 9:30.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We are continuing our discussion
Time for home.
with doctors Patricia and Barbara. And of course, we're loving them because you who listen to us all the time will hear Pastor Percival and myself saying, stand up, speak for your rights, advocate, and not just for yourself, but do it for your neighbor and for those who don't have the capacity or maybe even the courage to speak for themselves because they are too connected and their livelihood is all tied up in it. I remember during the pandemic years, there were some issues which we were saying doctors should speak out and this one should speak out. And persons would say, no, but I've been told I can't get this contract or that contract. And they would only give you information behind closed doors. That's a reality
Yes.
of our time. And so we do admire and appreciate those who take the hits and
the
keep
hits
and keep
professionally.
speaking,
Yes.
because unless we confront it, Jamaica is not going to get to where she needs to be.
Yes.
When you defend your home, your neighborhood, the environment, it doesn't get better than that, because that is, when you say Jamaica is a paradise, you're preserving the possibility of that,
Yes.
or even the reality of it. Some people, we have some listeners who join us from some very cold countries.
Yeah, we have.
And they're just happy
Europe.
to see the sunshine and the greenery and to know that there's a place where it is not, covered in snow and you're not huddled inside.
Well,
It's worth
speaking
protecting.
Speaking of greenery,
Yes.
we seem to be seeing less and less of it around Kingston, eh?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
what are you doing about it?
Yes. So the question I would ask, and I would ask this of NEPA and the municipal corporations, they are both involved in approving developments, right? Why is it necessary to clear cut a lot before you build? Why can't existing trees be incorporated into the design?
In the design.
Right? Why can't there be soft approaches to landscaping?
Is it the municipality's responsibility, or do developers and architects play a role in how they present their layout? Dr. Pat?
It is both. You've asked whether it is the authorities and also
Do they
the designers.
impose that requirement?
As part of my training as an architect and as a former lecturer and head of the Caribbean School of Architecture, we have instilled in our students the fact that they should preserve trees. There is a kind of unwritten code of a tree. If it's over 6 inches in diameter, 8 inches in diameter, it's valuable. I was listening to a seminar that's taking place in Trinidad. It ended yesterday. And they were talking about the water, rising tide, climate change,
Yeah.
etc. And in the Dutch Caribbean, they have actually begun to establish, landmark trees, Barbara. So they are actually landmarking the trees and putting a preservation on
Or
certain trees
protecting
of a
it.
certain kind, just
Okay.
a simple poinsettia tree, and they would say and put it on the register so that when a developer goes in, the
Can't
developer
destroy.
is told by the authorities that they are not to cut down that tree. So therefore your design is to be around the tree.
Wow.
So when we take our students on site and we do student projects and we select the sites, and we would
Yeah.
probably give them a site that has 20 trees on it just to see how they would
How they
respond.
would treat it.
And so the student who is defending his design would have to say, no, I decided to cut down all the trees because, and we go, yes. So that's part of your training as an architect. However, when you begin to do a development and your developer, your client who's paying you says, well, I would like to maximize the site. I would like to put up 50 apartments or whatever on it, even if it's hanging over next door and staring into the other person's on too close to the boundary, doesn't have a pit. Let's mow down the trees. And even you as an architect, because I've had that experience in my own profession, in that I have actually preserved a tree, and by the time I turned around and went back on the site, it was gone.
But this is where the authorities are so
Yes,
important.
it's
They
yes.
are the ones who must now impose what
The conditions that are more
of
protective.
approval.
Yes.
And well, I'm happy to see that they were defining developers.
Yeah.
One of the things they ought to fine them for is the unnecessary removal of trees. I mean, I was shocked. What's that road by PIOJ? Um,
Oxford Road.
Oxford Road, yeah.
Oxford Road. I drove down Oxford Road, and I said, something is strange here.
Tree gone.
Some lignum vitae trees
Cut down,
gone. No,
gone.
the lignum
Lignum
vitae
vitae?
is
Is it-
on the list of
Protected.
endangered,
Yes.
endangered species.
You see how many
We
are
have
on
them
the
all around Kingston, and we are
Yeah.
cutting them down, even though we signed these
These
conventions
accords about climate change
to
and
conserve nature
future,
and
yeah.
environment and all of this.
So that is why I'm talking about the double speak.
Yes.
You go to
So
these
where does it break down?
conferences,
Does
you
it break down?
sign.
But Pastor, it can easily break down because, as Dr. Kirby said, you don't have eyes everywhere to see who's cutting what. And after they cut it and cart it away, it never existed. That's one. Two, persons are not sufficiently educated.
Exactly. A lot of young people today
Yes,
don't even know
even
what a
know what a
lignum
lignum
vitae
vitae
tree
tree
looks
looks
like.
like.
That's true.
So they see it in the books, it's on the exercise book, and they know that it's a national flower or whatever.
They think it's in a forest somewhere,
Exactly,
not on the streets
exactly.
not on Oxford Road.
But I'd,
Citizen awareness.
So it's awareness.
Yeah.
but I'd like to bring to light a particular issue that is before the CRC at this time, which is the expansion of Lady Musgrave Avenue. Now, that has been a lot of conversation has been going over the years over this, and a number of consultations by Citizens Association, particularly in the Golden Triangle. And remember that this started out of their advocacy because they were coming together as a neighborhood about building development, but also the expansion of the Lady Musgrave Road. So it is the idea of government to turn Lady Musgrave in the exact way as Barbican is. So it is supposed to be having, we don't know the details, but the outcome is, look at Barbican, that's what's going to be there. 2 lanes, 4-lane highway with a concrete medium in between.
yes.
Now, there are all those beautiful trees, Barbara, along that road. Historic trees that are slated for destruction. So it's going to be going all the way, and they have put notices on people's fences along that area. Commercial buildings, even modern buildings that were recently done, which were given road widening approval. And then all of a sudden they're now demanding
changed.
more of the
More of the
property,
property. May I
and
ask you
taking
this,
out
because-
vegetation and trees in order to expand the road going right through the
So,
neighborhood.
as you speak, I recall being in a city, I think it was in China, and seeing them taking out giant trees, preserving them to relocate. Are we at that place in Jamaica? Because there is that marriage between the preservation of the tree itself and the advance of progress in a community that is under change.
The question,
It
what
is
is the
that-
balance? What is the balance between you stopping?
We are
and
not there. As a
We're not there.
preservation
So
architect,
it's destruction.
as a preservation architect, I see so many of our modern buildings. We must appreciate, and this is one of the concerns I have, that the modern architecture of Jamaica that came after the 1950s hurricane, and also our independence, of returning Jamaican architects who design buildings. These are the buildings being mowed down, and a huge high-rise is coming up in place of it. So there is a way in which you could actually do your development and integrate the modern architecture or the historic trees. What the proposal is, and we've heard the statements in Parliament, that they're going to be widening this road, and they're going to be planting how many hundreds of trees,
In the hills or
no,
in the same neighborhood?
neighborhood. So they're going to tear down existing trees, which are historical. They've been there. I'm sure that Lady Musgrave must have ridden past it on her way to and from King's House, and all the Queen and everybody.
Is that the Lady Musgrave who didn't want to ride past the black man's house?
Yes.
They should change the name of that road.
Well, I think it's a very wonderful part of our history. Why should we change the name? Everybody has a story about it. I love telling people
In
that
fact,
story.
I must ask you this because of the preservationist part of your portfolio. How do you see us reconciling the painful parts of our history with sort of honoring the sacrifice of the many who survived those times or who pushed for change in those times, without sort of rubbing your nose in it. You know, in other countries, they've been pulling down statues and throwing out things and changing names
Okay.
and so on.
Barbara, they're going to
Pastor
invite
said they
us to
woke.
spend the whole day with them.
Well, I have, you know,
still
we only
some
have
points
15
about
minutes
trees
left.
I want to make.
You want to talk, Dr. Barbara,
All right,
talk about the
Dr.
tree.
Barbara, finish the tree
You got
argument
the tree
because
argument.
I think I just woke up Dr. Pat with that question.
Talk
You'll be
about the tree.
providing breakfast, lunch,
And
and dinner.
Allegheny Club has hotel rooms as well.
Oh my goodness.
So you know that forestry department is on a drive to plant 3 million
Yes.
trees, which I
Yes.
fully endorse.
Yeah.
Correct.
However, when we're thinking about trees, their functions, in particular their functions in the mitigation of climate change, we need to realize something. All trees are not equal.
Tell that to
And-
the ficus.
Right. All trees are not equal, and size matters.
Matters.
Right?
Ah.
So we can't say we are cutting down a large mature tree and planting a tree in its place. And
That's
it's
gonna take
equivalent,
years.
right? A tree will take 10, 20, 30 years to mature. And the more it matures, the more carbon it pulls out
Of the
of the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yes.
You
Right?
didn't know that, Dr. Carby? You think they
But
know
they
that?
must know it. This is common
Yeah.
knowledge.
It is
but-
known. It is
But they
known
don't-
by mankind.
But I'm wondering,
it's
'cause
not
I'm
applied.
training,
Can
but
you
I'm-
imagine?
yes.
It's
And
not
here
being
is the thing,
applied.
and
Yeah.
there was somebody who was involved in risk management
Yes.
who put it very well. He said, we know more, but we do less.
Yes.
So we don't apply the knowledge that we have
True.
To the appropriate
situations,
issues.
to the appropriate
Because you know
issues
what?
and
The knowledge is in
situations.
Dr. Carby, and the man making decision about cutting down the tree is only looking at population density and development orders and money,
Yes,
and
but-
he's not taking note
But we have a ministry
of the
or a
knowledge.
division of climate change.
Yes, I love it that
They're-
you say
That's
that.
Masuda.
They are the ones
Yes.
that they are the ones
And
now that
they-
should be raising some of these issues and you know ensuring that some of these things
National
No, you want me to
Resource and
talk for all day.
Conservation Agency
that one.
Authority, because what
Those
is
are
happening
names.
is that they are looking at widening Lady Musgrave, putting in more traffic, tearing down the trees, increasing the carbon footprint in the neighborhoods because they are primarily residential neighborhoods.
Instead, what do you say they should be doing? What should they be doing? Because
How do we balance?
the population is growing, more houses are being needed in places that are already stressed. So there is a need to accommodate what the people want. So
Yes.
what should they be doing?
You raised a good point that I wanted to bring up. You can go to Pat for the architectural.
Yes.
I would like to say this. It has been decades now, I would imagine at least 2, since the whole idea of vertical forests
Yes.
came into being. Right? Cities realized it was very important to have greenery, trees, shrubs, and so on. They incorporate them into the buildings.
In the buildings.
So
We're
you
always
look at some
talking
of these
about
buildings now, and
the
it's
airport
all
in Turkey.
foliage.
Right.
It's all foliage.
Earlier today, I was
You know,
talking about the airport in
on
Turkey with
the
the full
roof.
gardens
They put
inside.
gardens on the roof.
Yes.
Right? And that has several functions. Not only does it
Beautify.
beautify,
the
it's
place, yeah.
aesthetically pleasing,
Yeah.
it's increasing your oxygen supply.
Correct.
It's doing some carbon sequestration or absorption.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Right? And it's keeping the building cool, thus lowering your
Energy
cost.
consumption.
Yes. Now, here's an interesting point that I found out just last night, right? Not to interrupt you.
No.
We are worried about violence and crime and aggressiveness in Jamaica. Do you know that a study was done in the US where it turned out that inner city areas with more greenery, green urban spaces, actually experienced a fall in crime.
and violence.
Yeah.
I'm not
Fall
surprised.
in crime.
Yeah.
We're back to nature.
Yes,
Approach
and
that
they've
to
been
nature.
running these projects, putting gardens, food gardens, and
Exactly.
you know, in
Pocket
the
parks
yes,
and all of this. No,
to
we're
absorb
we're
that,
taking out
that
green
energy,
space
and
and
we're
putting
taking
in
it out,
concrete.
and we're in a tropical setting. You see how it goes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very strange. Anyway, I interrupted.
Yeah, but you know,
Pat with her-
I have to say that the point you just made, you had the hanging gardens of Babylon.
There you
It's
go.
an old point.
Yes.
Ancient,
Yes, vertical-
ancient point.
vertical forests.
Vertical
Vertical
forests.
forests
But,
and
yes.
greenery.
What should we be doing? Because
Yes,
some
I-
people say put in a tram rail. I'm just giving you an idea of, is it about, if it's about transporting people, what are the options that we have?
There are many options, and we have had them in Jamaica. As a historian, Jamaica was one of the first countries in the Americas to get a water system, pipe water system. Falmouth is the example. The train system that ran all across the nation
Yeah.
came here before it even came in any other part of the Americas, and it has been destroyed. We have a train station in Kingston. That's the way we should be transporting
Yes.
people by train.
Rather than broadening,
Public transportation. Instead of 5 people in a taxi or sometimes 7, then you have a train that's bringing people in. We had a tram system in Jamaica. I mean, you can go online and you can type tram
Yes,
Jamaica, and you can see the building in Orange Street, which is
Downtown.
now squatted,
Yes,
being
right.
squatted. It used to be the JPS. You had JPS on just a while ago. I remember paying my bills down in that building, and that was where the tram, the hub of the tram for downtown Kingston met. So you already had these systems in place. We had a bus system that was in place. So you're looking at a public transportation system that's inclusive. In other words, it should be for the entire nation, not just for people within certain areas. And that is one of the solutions. And that's
I
where the
actually like that
funding
solution.
should be placed. And so therefore, instead of widening roads to accommodate more
cars.
you also build in the long-term planning of the nation a transportation system. That's what Singapore did. They're the size of St. Thomas, the parish of St. Thomas. They got their independence the same time that we did. And they also was a British colony, just like Jamaica.
Just like, yes.
And they came to Jamaica to find out what they should do, and they went back
And actually did it.
and with integrity and planning and consultation with their citizens and everything. When a development is taking place in Singapore, it's online. They have an exhibition in a public space. You can go in and see. We have no idea where these things are going, when they're going to start, what they're going to do. And if the citizens, the CRC and a number of citizens had already met with government and made recommendations and said, this is the way you can help with designs, because there are fellow architects and other persons within the group who are there and have taken on their own certain kind of development issues and have advised government free of cost and say this is the way that it can be done
safely,
and which would include the citizens and which would help to resolve some of those issues. But then it seems that highways are very important. And so that's what's going through the neighborhoods. So we have images.
Which ultimately, will be a hazard because
we have
just
images.
navigating
Look
the road.
at the children trying to cross the road in Barbican. Look at the old people trying to get from one side of the road to the other. And you will see what happens in these environments.
Agree.
Well, that is such a spirited note on which to bring the conversation.
Just one point,
we talked about consultation.
Yes.
We're not talking about lip service.
Okay.
You can't consult the public and then do what you want to do.
What you want to do anyway.
Right? So
or
if you
just
consult
throw information at us and say, I've consulted.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
wow.
You're coming back.
You're coming back. You're coming back.
We didn't even touch the beaches.
But you have raised some very important issues. The issue of consultation, public education, in being inclusive.
Please don't try to recap them because it will just show.
In terms of being inclusive, but you have raised some very important points.
Yeah.
And as a grassroots organization, or partnership, or coalition, or network, we salute you. We salute you for what you have
on
done.
behalf of the team, on behalf of everybody, we thank you for inviting us, and it has been a delight being here, sitting in this wonderful, salubrious environment.
Yes. And just to say, we recognize the importance of the media.
Yes. As a part of this. So thank you for making the time. Yes. I really think that the Broadcasting Commission and those who guard the public airways need to mandate the support for these kinds of efforts. So you get your airtime and you don't have to pay for it. Just so persons can be educated and motivated to do whatever they can. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And to our listeners on air, online, on Facebook.
Facebook. So if you go on Facebook, you can see us and like us and everything. Thank you so much.
Twitter as well.
Oh,
Yes.
I dare
Okay.
say you'll have
So
to tell
there's
me
social
more.
media. Thank
We'll
you.
share it,
Social
whatever
media.
they
Thank
didn't
you.
get. We'll share it when we come back on air in the coming week. Thank you, Mr. Producer, for taking care of us this morning back at the studio. Lloyd, thank you
Whenever
so
we talk
much.
to the people online.
I've been watching it. Earl Brown, I know. Well, you know what?
We'll
We're
do
going to
it.
talk
Jump
about
on
this
it.
in the coming week. We're getting the ladies back to just sort of keep us on our toes with some other of the issues that affect. You know, we're talking about protecting the neighborhood, but really, this goes into governance, into corruption, into everything that really matters, into policy. And it goes into how you and I can participate in making Jamaica a reality. The covenant,
Well,
making
we
the
are.
covenant work. All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you very much. This is
No
the Morning
bucket, oh.
Connection signing off.